It's local. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers.
All right, everybody, we welcome you in. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers, live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers, the divorce and family law firm of the Miami Valley area, with 5 attorneys to meet your needs. Mike Brown, wake up. Mike Brown, you there? Actually, he has woken up. The Bengals have made a couple moves here today already that some Bengals fans are excited about. And no matter what moves the Bengals make, there's only one particular position that a lot of Bengals fans are wanting them to focus on, including myself. And we're going to talk about that a lot today. The Cleveland Browns made a huge signing yesterday. Of course, we didn't really get to jump into any of this yesterday, Kev, because of Reds baseball. We got a full 3 hours. I can't tell you the last time that we got to hang out with everyone for a full 3 hours. So let's hit the ground running. Let's start with NFL free agency. We'll get to the college basketball stuff here coming up in just a little bit. But the NFL free agency has been unreal. And it's already been off to quite the entertaining start. And I will say, yesterday, as the day was going on, the Cincinnati Bengals had not made a move. Bengals fans were ready to jump off the ledge. They were super upset. It is what it is. But yet here we are, and the Bengals have made some moves. Bengals fans should be pleased about that. But the problem is that the Bengals had a lot of holes to fill, Kev. They had a lot of holes to fill. And when you have a lot of holes to fill, you got to start prioritizing of the holes that you have to fill, knowing that you're not going to plug every hole this offseason. Okay. So you got to look at all the holes that you have, and you got to ask yourself, of all of these holes, which of these holes is going to be most detrimental to us in 2021? And you got to start asserting, you got to basically just look around and say, well, our number one priority, and this is according to Duke Tobin, and really anyone with the brain should be thinking this, that the number one priority is, well, Joe Burrow.
Right.
To make sure that Joe Burrow can play a complete season and not be carted off the field and you question about the future of his recovery and can he come back from it. That should be the number one focus for the Cincinnati Bengals, to make sure. And I posted on my Facebook page today, I said, take a good look at this picture. It was Joe Burrow being carted off the field. Let's rewind back to that day. Remember how you felt that day. And as we sit here today, while everyone's doing cartwheels and they're jumping for joy and they're ordering cakes with Bengals on them and everyone's happy, how does signing a pass rusher protect Joe Burrow? How does addressing the defensive issues protect Joe Burrow? For me, is if you are the Cincinnati Bengals and you finally get a franchise quarterback, not an Andy Dalton, not a guy that's capable of playing the position, not a guy that's good enough to play the position, but the guy that has everything, the it factor. Joe Burrow has the it factor. He is the draw that free agents want to come play with. He is what makes a bad organization like the Bengals look like, okay, there's something interesting there. Because without Joe Burrow, they're the worst organization in football. And yes, that's even the same league that has the Houston Texans in it, by the way. That's how bad this organization is, and they're proving it right now. You have Joe Burrow go down with the season-ending injury last year because you failed to address the offensive line because Mike Brown and company thinks that what they have is okay. They think, it's okay. It'll be fine. They'll improve. Another year of not getting better is going to lead us to being better. So what's the first thing that the Bengals do this offseason after Duke Tobin just came out last week and told every single Bengals fans that the number one priority was going to be Joe Burrow? Joe Burrow. Well, as I tweeted out earlier today, it's great that when you have all of these holes that you have to fill, you have to prioritize those holes. I am so glad that the Bengals decided that the defense was more important than Joe Burrow, because in week 6, when their backup quarterback takes over for Joe Burrow, at least they're going to have a good defense, right? Right? Like, that's where we're at right now. And there were some Bengals fans who, of course, attacked me, and there was way more that supported my stance on this. I was a little shocked because last year, if I even said anything remotely close critical about the Bengals, everyone lost their mind. But I think people are starting to understand that I would be saying this about any team that was as boneheaded as this ownership right here. Mike Brown's the kind of guy that when he looks at the cup that says caution, it's hot, he takes a huge chug of coffee and then complains because, well, why the hell is this? It burned my mouth. That's Mike Brown. Because he doesn't get it. He doesn't understand. How many seasons of bad offensive line play does he have to see before the old senile guy finally figures it out and decides to actually invest in the damn offensive line? It's absolutely embarrassing. It's ridiculous. And no, this isn't just Bengals hate on my end. I would be saying this about the Browns if they had an organization that was as stupid as the Bengals. So that's where we're at right now. I don't care that they signed a pass rusher. I don't care. That was a hole you didn't have. It wasn't even a need that you had coming in. And even if it was a need, it wasn't a need that was needed to be put up at the top of the priority list. What the heck? And it's a hole that you created. You purposely let go of your pass rusher. You purposely let Lawson go. You purposely didn't bring. So you didn't it's not like you had Lawson and then you added, Hendrickson to the mix. You let Lawson go and replace him with Hendrickson, which sure is a slight improvement, but it doesn't, the Bengals aren't better today. You don't let the pieces go that you did and then just fill the holes with equally as talented guys and then try to convince the fan base that, we're improving. And again, I don't care if you improve to have the number one defense in the National Football League. When your quarterback is always at risk to have a season-ending injury because of the buffoonery that goes on in that front office, I have no clue what to tell you. It's absolutely embarrassing, and I don't care. And by the way, people keep saying, well, it's only day 2, that they could still get other offensive linemen. The 2 biggest ones, Joe Thuney, all right, and then Zeitler became available, which should have been Kevin Zeitler is making $7 million a year, and the Bengals lowballed him. That's why he was willing to come back to the Bengals. The report I read yesterday, he was interested in reuniting with the Bengals. They wouldn't go any higher. They lowballed him, and now he's making $7 million a year. Kev, if Joe Burrow is your priority, how is $7 million a year too much?
Right.
What is wrong with you guys? And then you look at Thuney, who was going to be a $16 million a year guy. He got paid from the Chiefs. Congratulations to them because they got a good one. But again, good things don't come cheap. So if Joe Burrow is as important to you as what you say, Joe Thuney, who's a guy that could play multiple roles, he could play multiple spots on the line, giving you versatility, which is important. I think that would make him worth the $16 million a year. You can't convince us that you care about Joe Burrow's future when you won't invest into Joe Burrow's future. It's absolutely ridiculous. In 2 years, they will be looking to replace Joe Burrow because he will not want to re-sign here. He will not want to stay here. And I would support it at 1,010%.
When your teams like the Lions and the Bengals, you have to overpay for free agents. When you're a team like the Kansas City Chiefs, who have the best quarterback in the league, and Patrick Mahomes, you can go ahead and let both of your starting tackles go because you're going to get the best tackle on the market to come to your team because he wants to win a Super Bowl. He wants to be back in that Super Bowl mind frame, and the Kansas City Chiefs are that team in the AFC. So you have to overpay. You have to say, hey, man, they're going to give you 14. Hey, we'll give you 16. And money talks. Believe it or not, money still makes the world go round. So when you're in a situation like that with the Bengals and you have a great player like Joe Burrow and you want to protect him to the best of your ability, you have to protect him with that offensive line and then sprinkle weapons around him. You and I, we're rarely on the same page about things, but we're definitely on the same page about this. As good as a prospect as the guy out of Oregon is, what's his name? Penei Sewell. As great of a prospect as he is, and I hope he's a great player and all that good stuff. You can still draft him, but you can have veterans around him as well. And veteran players cost money. Good veterans cost money. And for him, the thing about the Bengals is they have addressed the offensive line. They've addressed the offensive line in just about every draft. But those picks don't turn out. And we talked about it before. Is it, hey, man, these guys just ain't no good? They're not getting coached up? We don't know what it is. But guess what? When you get a veteran guy who knows how to train, knows what he's doing, knows what he's seeing on film, and knows how to communicate with the rest of the offensive line, that's something you won't have to worry about. So you go out and go get a veteran to teach the younger guys. Not only teach the guys that are on the team, but he's teaching the coach as well. Because Thuney's got a ton of experience. So that's a blown opportunity by the Cincinnati Bengals not to go out there and get the best tackle on the market and overpay for him and then just basically let him walk to Kansas City. Let's let him walk to Kansas City. You could have gave him 16, 17 for him to protect your young quarterback, but you chose not to. So that means they're going to be going to the draft. They're going to have a super young offensive line next year. And for Joe Burrow's sake, he's going to have to use those wheels. He's going to use those legs of his. I know he don't really like using those legs like that. He proved that he was a pocket passer, but guess what? You're going to have to run. Well, it's a good thing he's not coming off a season-ending injury to one of them legs that you're talking about. So I agree with you. But no, and look, and it's not like, and by the way, I know everyone's like, oh, here's typical Kinner just bashing the Bengals. Folks, I'm actually more pro-Bengals on this than you think. I'm actually pro-Joe Burrow in this.
Like, I want it to come down to Joe Burrow versus Baker Mayfield in a big-time rivalry matchup every year, not, the playoff Browns, by the way. I know that has to just be salt in the wound for all you Bengals fans. Playoff Browns led by Baker Mayfield going up against one of the best young quarterbacks in the league and a crap team in the Cincinnati Bengals. I expect more out of that matchup moving forward, but Mike Brown refuses to let that happen. It's absolutely embarrassing. And here's the thing. And people on Twitter keep coming at me saying, guys, look, Tooney's not a guard. He's a guard, not a tackle. But I get your point. Look,
but he can play.
But he can play multiple.
Tackle.
But that's what makes him so versatile. For one, he's very versatile.
And he's going to be playing tackle for Kansas City.
That's what, yeah. So that's one of the things that makes him so important to any team out there is the fact that he is willing to play. And look, and Matt, comes out and says, Tooney wanted to play at Kansas City. Bottom line, Matt. Of course he did. That's why he went there, for one, because you can go to the place and win. Imagine that. If you
that's why you overpay.
But there was also reports that came out yesterday of Tooney's sister that was screenshots of her tweets that continued to go out. He wanted to play in Cincinnati. They wouldn't meet the money that Kansas City was going to give him. Kansas City doesn't have money. They have a quarterback that's making $500 million, and they found a way to fork over $16 million. Because why? They value their quarterback, because that is a functional organization, not a dysfunctional embarrassment. Everyone ripped me and the national media and everybody else because they had the nerve to question whether Joe Burrow should be excited about going to Cincinnati. Oh my gosh, stop. The Browns are just as bad. The Browns are at least in the damn playoffs, and they're continuing to add and get better every single year. What's your team doing? I don't want to hear any of that. This is ridiculous. But he was willing to go to Cincinnati. By the way, he's that good. He was going to get to go anywhere that was going to pay him. Mm-hmm. Cincinnati was on his list. Zeitler wanted to go to Cincinnati. Zeitler only is making $7 million. He's making $9 million a year less than what Tooney is, and the Bengals couldn't do that. So you mean to tell me that Joe Burrow, you don't value him at all, that you can't even afford in a year that you have so much cap space, by the way. It's not like the Bengals are strapped on cash this year. All right. They have the cap to do it, and they're choosing not to. And I don't care if while I'm screaming about this, all of a sudden breaking news comes across that they've signed an offensive lineman. I don't care, because it's not going to be as good as the guys that they weren't willing to fork over money for. And I believe yesterday that they panicked with the Hendrickson thing. They paid him as much as they did because they panicked, because they knew they were getting ripped. You can't brag all offseason or the pre-off season about how this is going to be your offseason, that you're going to go all in on the Bengals. You're going to go all in on protecting Joe Burrow. And then you almost ended yesterday with nothing, zilch, nada. And then you let Carl Lawson go. The night started, or the beginning stages of the night started with Lawson going to the Jets because you somehow just let him go. I still don't understand that move. Hendrickson is good, really, really good. All right, really, really, really good. But that doesn't help the big picture when it comes to you got to protect Joe Burrow first. Let's be clear here. You hate the Browns. People hate the Browns. I get it. The Browns, if I had a list of 5 things that they've done right throughout the history of the franchise since coming back, I could probably get to 2. And I don't even know what those 2 are yet. But Kev, you know what they've done really well? Since the season they went 16-0, they've almost been, outside of the hiring of Freddie Kitchens, they have been one of the best franchises in the NFL in regards to decision-making. Every decision that they have made has basically worked, and they've been able to capitalize on it. Freddie Kitchens was the biggest mistake that they made, and guess what? Boom, it didn't work out for him. But here's what they did. Every dime of free agent dollars that they had last year, Kev, where did that go?
Offensive line.
To the offensive line, to the offense in general. It was making sure that you kept Kareem Hunt. It was making sure that, you were able to keep, Jarvis they'd already invested to. They go and get Hooper, make him a top paid tight end in the National Football League. Like, everything was done to protect Baker Mayfield. We said it coming into last season. They are going to make sure that Baker Mayfield has no excuses not to be successful by the end of this last season, because he literally has wide receivers galore. He has running backs galore, tight ends galore. He has the best offensive line in football, the best running game in football, and boom, he's succeeded because the franchise invested into Baker Mayfield, and that's what you're supposed to do when you have a young up-and-coming quarterback. And I think that the ceiling for Joe Burrow is higher than Baker Mayfield. I like Baker Mayfield, but I think that Joe Burrow, the ceiling is higher. But that ceiling is going to remain low for Joe Burrow because of who he's playing with. So the Bengals should have said, you know what, we're going to spend every dime that we have available to protecting Joe Burrow this offseason. Once we know that Joe Burrow is protected, once we know that the offense is set, once we know that we have an offense that can compete and score with the best teams out there, including the Kansas City Chiefs, then we will work on the defense. Because you know what? The Browns got to the playoffs last year, won 11 games in the regular season, won a playoff game with one of the worst defenses in the National Football League. They couldn't stop anybody. They couldn't stop a nosebleed. That's how bad that defense was. And you know what? They still won a playoff game. They got to the playoffs. They competed for the division. That's what you're supposed. So I don't want to hear it. The defense, yes. Oh, well, we have holes on defense too. You can worry about that later. The offense, that's how you win games. That's how you become a product that people actually give insert a non-FCC approved word about. Bottom line. Stop defending a crap organization. I'm tired of it. I'm absolutely nauseated that fans out there actually think that the Bengals are doing okay. I don't care. They also made a move recently, too, where where'd it go? I know that Mike Hilton, by the way, former Steeler, they just signed him. 4-year deal. So they're making things happen there. Great. Congratulations. Remind me again, does he play guard, tackle? What does he do?
Slot corner.
Did he keep Big Ben up last year? No. Did he provide running lanes for? Oh, no. Okay. Well, until that happens, I don't care who they sign.
Good player, by the way.
And I'm sure he is. And I'm sure the defense. But Kevin, let me be serious here for a second. And I've been serious since it started. The defense is going to be improved for the Bengals dramatically already moving forward. I like what they're doing on the defensive side, but that's like buying a car before you have a driver's license to drive it. It doesn't do you any damn good other than to sit there and look at it and say, man, that defense looks good. Imagine when we get the offense to put with it, man, and then you could say the opposite. Well, that offense looks good. Imagine when you get the defense to put with it. The offense is the most important thing because Joe Burrow is your number one priority. Or at least that's what I thought. At least that's what Duke Tobin said, but that's not the case. Matt Sturgeon says you put Tooney on your list behind at least. Matt, I've said it like 5 freaking times to you on Facebook throughout the day that list was not a ranking of 1 through 6 of number 1 being the best, 6 being the last. He was on a list with 6 other guys. And by the way, Zeitler was not on that list at the time because he wasn't made available. It's not that hard to figure out. 457-9464. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers, right here on 1410 ESPN. Why are you playing the music? You think I need a break?
Yeah, we need a break. You need to take that little pill that you got to take.
I haven't taken it today. You can't tell.
I can tell.
I went to take it, then it fell off the floor. I couldn't find it anywhere, so I was like, you know what? I don't need to have another angry day down the road. I'll just get it out of the way today.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, my favorite guy, David Shaw, who knows it all. You act like they were going to spend all the money and overspend on these O-linemen. It's not called overspending. David, what the hell is wrong with you? How is $7 million overspending for Zeitler? How is that overspending? Please, I'm begging you. You know everything in the world. You have to be smarter than that. Kev, go to break. We'll be back in a moment.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be mostly cloudy with fog, a high near 53. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy, a low around 40. And tomorrow is going to be partly cloudy, a high near 65. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
You decided to upgrade your outdoor deck. So you ordered the essentials: a power washer, a set of patio chairs, and a shiny new grill. And you used your Bank of America Cash Rewards credit card, choosing to earn 3% cash back on online shopping and up to 5.25% as a preferred rewards member, which you put towards your most essential deck addition, a bird feeder. Apply for yours at bankofamerica.com/more rewarding. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
And now more Straight Talk from Straight Talk. The big wireless companies say they're the only way to get the best coverage.
Because they've got like a gajillion cell towers?
Something like that. But Straight Talk Wireless runs on those same towers, so you get the same great networks for up to 50% less.
I wonder if they're counting that one in Kickapoo, Kansas.
Oh boy. Switch today and get our unlimited plan for just $45 a month with 25 gigs at high speeds and no contract. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise.
Savings may vary. See straighttalk.com.
Frickers is ready with Frickin' Madness. Frickers' new mobile app allows you to order online and score points for free food and loyalty visits. Frickers is ready for you to catch all the action of the march to the national championship. Dine in and win with Frickers chicken wings, ice cold beer, and all of the games. Score big by downloading Frickers' new app and receive loyalty points, free food, and order online. Your home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
The Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission is here to assist veterans during this COVID-19 pandemic. Even though we are not meeting face-to-face, we are here for you. We understand it is a difficult time with this virus threat and the strain of implementing social distancing. For those Montgomery County veterans who have lost their source of income due to their employers having to close or reduce their business hours due to the COVID-19 pandemic, you may be eligible for COVID-19 special financial relief assistance. Please contact the Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801 Monday through Friday for more information or to have an application sent to you. You can also visit mcvsc.org. The Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission is here to help Montgomery County veterans during the COVID-19 crisis. Call 937-225-4801 Monday through Friday or visit them online at mcvsc.org.
Attention Class A CDL drivers. Looking to be more than just a number? Yoel Transportation in Dayton is looking for drivers with at least 1.5 years experience. Yoel has open positions for no-tarp flatbed drivers and no-touch regional or local van drivers. Yoel is ELD compliant and offers 401k with match, medical, dental, vision, holiday pay, vacation, safety bonuses, and now has a rider policy. Call Rick or Joe at 937-294-5933 and ask about the $5,000 sign-on bonus today.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your car insurance with Right Track, which rewards you for safe driving.
As the world's most careful driver, that's perfect. Now applying 2 pounds of force for acceleration.
You really
turning in 0.3 miles and begin a deceleration.
With Liberty Mutual's Right Track, you could earn up to 30% savings based on how you drive. Sign up at libertymutual.com/righttrack.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Discount on participating vehicles. Base coverages only. Availability varies.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I struggled with symptoms like frequent gas and stomach pain for years.
I was bloated all the time with daily diarrhea.
At first, I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was stomach issues.
So I did my research and talked to my doctor, and we finally uncovered the truth.
It was actually EPI. Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, is a condition where your pancreas is unable to help break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools.
And EPI symptoms can be confused with those of other common digestive conditions like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, and celiac disease.
So getting to the right diagnosis meant being more open with my doctor about the severity of my symptoms and how often they were happening.
But there's good news. EPI is manageable, so don't wait any longer. Use the symptom checker at identifyepi.com and schedule a visit or call with your doctor to ask, could I have EPI?
Sponsored by AbbVie.
It's all about the nose. It's your air filter, the first line of defense against bacteria and viruses. If too many germs get stuck in your nose, guess what? You get sick. That's why it's so important to keep your nose clean, just like washing your hands. Nasal irrigation gets rid of germs by rinsing the nasal cavity, but neti pots are hard to use and, frankly, kind of gross. Now there's a better way to keep your nose clean and help your body protect itself. It's called Navage Nasal Care. Navage uses powered suction to flush out allergens, mucus, bacteria, and viruses. Millions use Navage for fast, all-natural relief from sinus congestion and allergies, and to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier without drugs. Navage is easy to use, affordable, and comes with an absolute guarantee of satisfaction. You wash your hands and brush your teeth every day. Now it's time to start cleaning your nose with Navage. At Navage.com, CVS, Walgreens, Bed Bath, Target, and Rite Aid. Navage. Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
You could continuously cough for hours on end, or you could take Delsym Cough. Delsym Cough gives you 12 cough relief hours. Visit Delsym, DELSYM.com. Use as directed.
The The madness is officially here. Head to wingam.com and register to submit your basketball mayhem tournament bracket and compete against some of the biggest college basketball fans in the Dayton area. $100 in Frickers Bucks will be awarded to the basketball mayhem winner. Plus, you could win $1 million by filling out the perfect bracket. It's the Basketball Mayhem Bracket Challenge, presented by Orion Sports Medicine and Frickers. Submit your tournament picks at wingam.com. Let the madness begin. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
Look at that. Not even 25 minutes back to being on the air for a full show today. I've already been called an ass. How about that? And it wasn't by Kev this time. Sports Illustrated covers James Rapien with Sports Illustrated covers the Cincinnati Bengals. He's going to join us coming up here in 3:30. We'll see if I can get him to call me names because that's always fun. I don't mind being called names. I can't act the way I do and expect people not to call me names. So you ain't going to hurt my feelings, Andy. I don't think I'm numb. I'm just numb from the head down. I have no feelings. It's totally fine. Look, and we have Hans Molman from Springfield says much love from Springfield. See, I like you. There you go. I don't like David. I don't like Shaw.
This calls me names. Awesome show.
David Shaw says, look, $7 million is more than they wanted to spend, obviously. They're trying the all approach. I don't know what an all approach is, but okay. They are trying to fix everything instead of just focusing on the O-line, but that's the problem. Don't you see how that's the problem? That everything else doesn't matter. You can have the best defense in the league. And when Joe Burrow snaps his leg in week 6 because, they wanted to go for the all-in approach for the defense, well, then, Shaw, there you go. You can call me an ass all you want, but I think it's really important that when you see, the only way to win in this league is with a quarterback. If you don't have a quarterback, you don't win. So you can brag about the cornerbacks and the pass rushers all you want, but when your quarterback, who is probably one of the best young star quarterbacks in the league, he will be, if he reaches his potential, Kev, he will be a bigger star than Baker Mayfield. I have no doubt about it. His ceiling is higher than Baker Mayfield's, and that's coming from a big Browns homer who Baker could do no wrong in my eyes, right? Like I'm telling you, the ceiling for Joe Burrow is significantly higher. But the reason that they will always be even is because, if not Baker better, it's because of the organizations they play for. And I can't believe I'm saying that. The organization that Baker plays for has invested into him. And I think he has less talent overall than Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow's ceiling is higher, as I've said. But because the Bengals we want a top defense. We'll draft that Sewell guy from Oregon. And that's, if that's their idea of addressing the offensive line is just drafting another rookie, by the way, if you think that a group of offensive linemen that have only been in the league a combined 2 to 3 years, if you think that they're going to just magically figure it out all together with no veteran leadership in there to kind of show them the ropes a bit, you are mistaken. Absolutely. And by the way, in $7 million, that's not what they want to spend. $7 million. The best offensive linemen in the league are going for $16 million, and you couldn't give Zeitler $7 million? Look, this isn't, anyways, it is what it is. Call me all the names you want. But every name that you call me, it's just a representation of the crappy organization that is the Cincinnati Bengals. So there you go. All right, I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash. We're going to talk some more Bengals football coming up with James Rapien from Sports Illustrated. The Browns also made some moves as well. John Johnson, 3-year deal, $33 million. Again, the best safety available in free agency, so that's good for them. Again, I didn't expect him to make a move like that. So I think that's pretty cool. And they're still going after secondary guys, Kev. Like I thought that between Ward and they have a lot of young rookie secondary guys, but I think I give the Browns front office credit. They're saying, look, we do have young guys that we're counting on, but if we put all our eggs in their basket and they end up not panning out, I hate to be that's why we ended up not being able to cut it when they have the cap space to be able to improve it. I love the fact that they're adding some veteran pieces into the mix when it's all said and done, because the Browns defense definitely needed some help. They did add a linebacker, though. They just got Tack McKinley or whatever his name is, the linebacker from the Raiders. So okay. I thought that's, again, they needed linebackers. They need another pass rusher. I still think they're going to get another pass rusher. They got their linebacker. They got the best safety in free agency. Boom. Good for the Browns. They got it. They did. Every dime they spent last year was on the offense. And this year, there you go. Johnson is no Jesse Bates. Well, Johnson plays on a better team.
Johnson is a hell of a player, and I know he played for the Rams, and we don't watch too many Rams games. And you hear me harp about how good of management and how they draft so well with the Rams. The reasons the Rams could let a player like Johnson go, who was an All-Pro in this NFL league, is because they draft so well. And one of those players they drafted was a guy that we know so well, in Jordan Fuller from Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
He was able to come in
Too,
there
yeah.
and in the 7th round and be a starter on that team and ball out for that team. So they were able to replace his production, him being a 4th round pick, with a dude that's drafted in the 7th round. So they don't have to spend big money to re-sign him. They can let him walk and plug in a guy that's barely making over $1 million a year in Jordan Fuller. And that's how it's done. What you do is you find players and you draft well. Yes, I'm a big guy building through the draft. We all have our different ways of doing that. But you supplement the guys that you build through the draft with fill-in players through free agency. And sometimes those guys are high-priced guys that you have to fork over a lot of money to. And in the Bengals situation, and definitely in the Browns situation, they feel it's necessary to fill up that offensive line with supreme talent. And supreme talent costs a lot of money, and you are able to do that when you have your quarterback on a rookie contract. So the Bengals missed an opportunity. Yes, I truly still believe that this is a team sport, and I know we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. But something the Bengals are missing on is, and something more importantly that the fans are missing on, is that when you can get players around a good quarterback, that quarterback excels. And I think everybody, and especially in this region, believes that Joe Burrow is a good quarterback. So what do? You help him. And it's not just helping him by getting players for him to hand the ball off to throw the ball to. You protect him. You make sure he's upright. You make sure he has a clean pocket. And let's be clear, man, this is the NFL. Every pocket's not going to be clean. He's going to get hit. This is the NFL. But you do your best to say, all right, man, we're not going to have dudes coming screaming off the edge, getting free licks. You know what I mean? So you're not doing a good job with that. I don't, like we talked about before, we don't know if it's the coaching that these young rookie offensive linemen are getting, or they're just totally bust. But I know Tooney wasn't bust because he's a professional and he's a pro and he's been in this league for a long time.
And then here comes old Chalky Nick. You're just stirring it up. That's my favorite. Anytime I have an opinion that is, just that people disagree with, it's just me stirring it up. I'm not stirring it up. But no, I really don't like. The thing is, I'm very. If I was just stirring it up and just throwing out an opinion to have an opinion, I wouldn't be screaming at the top of my lungs right now. Like clearly, I'm fairly passionate about how stupid the Bengals organization is. It's embarrassing. Like everyone's like, oh, the Texans are bad. The Bengals are equally as bad because they both ignore. The fact that you need to put quality pieces around your quarterback. But hey, you know what? At least they got Mike Hilton. Joe Burrow is going to be out for the season after week 6, but at least they'll have Mike Hilton. Let's talk more Bengals football with someone who will actually tell you something you want to hear and tell you that everything's rainbows and sunshines. Maybe. We're going to have James Rapien, who covers the Cincinnati Bengals for Sports Illustrated. He's going to join us next. Don't go anywhere. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers, when we come back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
It's time for some straight talk. Your tax return could look different this year, but you're still going to hear a lot of noise about how to spend it. So when the big carriers tell you to splurge on the latest nonsense, just tune it out. With Straight Talk, you can get a Samsung Galaxy A51 for just $199. Plus, get the $45 unlimited talk, text, and data plan with no contract on America's best networks for up to 50% less. Tune out the nonsense and tune into Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise.
Today, pros have to do whatever it takes. The Home Depot is here to make that easier. We've got the products you know and trust on our app, delivery options to get what you need exactly where you need it, and a delivery tracker that keeps you up to date on the status of your order so you can keep doing what you do best.
prescription costs, and we'll deliver them for free. No wonder CVS customers are better than most at staying on prescriptions, which tends to make you healthier. Come in or call today and get a free prescription savings review at CVS. Savings vary. Not all patients eligible for savings. Delivery restrictions apply. Visit CVS.com for details.
Why would I sell the car of my dreams for a food truck that wasn't? Or rattle off condiment combinations in my sleep? Extra mayo, all the mustard, ketchup on the side. I mean, when did an app become my favorite tool? Nothing personal, Spatula. It's because I wanted to make the best burger ever. And QuickBooks suite of tools helped me get there.
Intuit QuickBooks helps small businesses be more successful. Learn more at QuickBooks.com.
All right, we are back. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash coming at you live on Dayton's ESPN radio station 1410 Wing AM. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers, the divorce and family law firm of the Miami Valley area, with 5 attorneys to meet your needs. We'll get to James here in just 10 seconds. I want to go back to the Facebook feed real quick. Matt on Facebook says, serious question. If the Bengals sign 2 really good linemen. Oh, it's a serious question. He says, if the Bengals sign 2 really good linemen and get Sewell in the draft, how will you then feel? Again, you have cap space. You have spit out all this nonsense about how Joe Burrow is your main priority, but yet when you have cap space and have had the this has been a deep free agent class as far as linemen's concerned, and you've just let big name after big name go. I mean, how you couldn't even Zeitler $7 million a year, and if $7 million a year is you deem that too much to protect your investment in Joe Burrow, then you don't deserve Joe Burrow. It's as simple as that. And if drafting Sewell is your idea of addressing the offensive line this offseason, that's not addressing the line. Now you get a veteran, like you get Tooney, you get Zeitler, you get a couple names like that, or a name like that to pair with Sewell. All of a sudden, that's quite the facelift. But no, anything you go after now is going to be bottom of the barrel guys, because those other top barrel guys, guess what? They're going to want the same money that Zeitler and Tooney wanted, and you've already proven that you don't value Joe Burrow enough to go that route. So let's go to the phones now, or let's go to the interview. I'm sorry, I'm excited to bring on James Rapien with Sports Illustrated. James, Bengals fans are mad at me, so I had to bring you on to tell them nice things. So that's your job here for the next 10 minutes. Is that okay?
I could say some nice things for sure. It just depends on what you ask me, Justin. It's your call.
So James Rapien covers the Bengals for Sports Illustrated. Always enjoy having him come on. From what you expected, from everything we've heard from Duke Tobin in the front office of the Bengals, I do, in all fairness, I do like the quality pieces they've added on defense. I don't care about the defense right now until I know that Joe Burrow is taken care of. Are you surprised that they have been this aggressive on the defensive side of the ball before even addressing the offensive line?
It's certainly not what I would have done. My strategy would have...
It's because you're a smart man.
It's just strictly around Joe Burrow, and then we'll find it later. At the same time, I get it to a degree. I mean, defensively, what they've done basically is turn William Jackson into Mike Hilton. And then I say I'm gonna butcher it. Awuzie. I need to get used to it. It's like 2 starting corners, and so you do that. 2 guys that are entering their prime at 27 and 26 years old, and so I like that part of it. But the problem with this, Justin, is we don't know the plan for offensive line. We don't know what they're going to do, and because they were in on Zeitler and didn't get him, because it didn't really feel like they were in on Tooney or even a Corey Linsley. We're looking and saying, well, what the hell are you doing? It's clear you need to upgrade in the trenches, but maybe they sign Trey Turner in 10 minutes, and then an hour later they go get, a Rick Wagner or someone like that, maybe Hudson, who just got released by the Raiders, right? And we're feeling differently, but I totally get it. I get why fans are on edge, and they should be, because the franchise isn't stopping opposing quarterbacks. The franchise is keeping your quarterback upright, and the Bengals couldn't do that last year, and that's why he's rehabbing every day at Paul Brown Stadium. And they need to find a way to do that this offseason. And I don't think it's smart to just do it in the draft. I think you got to add some proven talent, and hopefully they can do that in the trenches.
16 mil is what Tooney got with the Chiefs, of course, and good for. I mean, look, the narrative out there, and one that I always stick by too, is once you pay your quarterback, you don't have enough money to go and keep a lot of key pieces with you. So good for the Chiefs for valuing Patrick Mahomes and doing that. But I am curious your thoughts on even Zeitler. I want to bring Zeitler into this conversation as well. How serious how serious were was the idea of them potentially joining the Cincinnati Bengals, or are they just another big name in a pile of big names that's available throughout the free agent period right now?
No, I think they wanted to get Zeitler. I think that was someone they were familiar with. It was certainly a guy that obviously was drafted by the Bengals, developed by the Bengals, and they just didn't want to pay him $60 million for 5 seasons a few years ago. And that's probably why, or at least part of the reason why they went all the way in on Tooney, other than the $48 million guaranteed essentially that the Chiefs had to throw his way. And that's basically what it is. It's 32.5, but it'll be 48 by his second season in Kansas City. So, yeah, I think they were in on Zeitler. I think they know they need to get better in the trenches. It's just, again, when that's priority one, but they're addressing these other things, especially on top of last offseason when you were getting Joe Burrow and you get Trey Waynes and you get DJ Reader and you get Von Bell. I think outside of Waynes, no one really has a problem with any of those moves, except you didn't get the offensive line. And so until they do that, they don't have the equity built up for us to say, oh, take a deep breath, hold on, they're going to do it. Well, they haven't done it yet. And the offensive line has been bad really since they started 8-0 in 2015. It's gone downhill. Certainly bad in 2016 and Zeitler and Whitworth left, and it's gotten worse ever since. And it was probably its worst last season. So they need to upgrade guard. I wouldn't be shocked if they're in the market for a veteran center, right tackle. So you're talking 3 starting spots minimum that they need to upgrade at. And I was expecting them, and I'm still expecting them, to sign 2 starters in free agency. I think that has to be an expectation, not something you're hoping for, not hope, expecting. And that's what Bengals fans should expect. And we'll see if they can get it done. There are still upgrades out there. There's still capable linemen, but the clock is ticking. And you wonder how long they're going to wait until they can get one of these guys or multiple guys in free agency.
Now, again, addressing the offensive line is one thing, but the quality of the guys they bring in, and I'm not saying them individually, like personally, I just mean from what they bring in to upgrade that offensive line. Yes, they could bring offensive linemen in, but are Bengals fans being too gullible here, including myself and others, where we're looking at the big, here's the top 5 available offensive linemen remaining. Should we not be swimming in the deep end? Should we be kind of more in the shallow end and still wearing our floaties just in case we get put underwater? I'm just curious, where do you see this going as far as the aggressiveness with the line, I guess?
Well, I certainly hope that they're going to be aggressive and go after some of the top guys remaining, because the top guys are affordable now. Because there aren't many, unless they got the Trent Williams, there aren't many guys, I think, that are going to just break the bank, right? I think Russell Okung is a guy that is 32 years old. I don't think he's going to get 50 to 20 million per year. Maybe that happens, and maybe the Bengals just aren't interested in a guy at that price point, whatever his price point is. But again, then there's a Rick Wagner. Then there's a Riley Reef. There are guys at any tier that you want from a price point, veteran standpoint, proven point that they can get. And to me, and I've kind of said this from the start of this offseason, and this really should always be the goal for any NFL team, you don't need a great offensive line. It would be awesome to have one. But they don't need to be great. They just need to be competent. The Bengals' offensive line last year was so bad that the offense could not function the way normal NFL offenses function. Everything was quick. Joe Burrow was built, his whole entire game was built around getting the ball out quickly, and his passer rating dropped as he held onto the ball, because usually that was, he's under pressure and he's running around, and he'd make plays at times. But the point is Zach Taylor was brought in to engineer this offense. Well, it's really hard to, and I've been critical of Zach Taylor, but it's really hard to have success on offense when you don't have a line that lets you function. So can they get that functional? They don't need to be great. Can they be functional? And then and they need to get there, by the way, in free agency. And then maybe you get Penei Sewell, you get a tackle at 38 overall in the second round, and you start to feel better about the direction of where they're going. So I still think they can do that, get the functional, get the competent. But that's not a high bar, Justin. In the fact that they haven't added anyone yet, I thought Matt Filer was kind of the perfect value-type guy that has the ability to play guard and tackle. The fact that he ends up blocking for Justin Herbert in Los Angeles, that was a gut punch, I think, to a lot of Bengals fans.
We're talking a ton about the offensive line. You look at Jonah Williams, Billy Price, Michael Jordan. They are all been drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals, and they come from good programs like Ohio State and Alabama. The question I always ask Bengals fans is, are these guys bust, or are they just getting bad coaching?
Well, I don't think Jonah Williams is a bust at all. I think he's had injury issues, but last year he kind of showed, hey, I'm a capable left tackle, and I think the Bengals are confident in him being the left tackle of the future, even if they draft Penny Sewell. I think a lot of people just assume, they're going to move Jonah. I think there's a chance Sewell starts at right tackle and they go from there. But coaching has been an issue. There's no doubt about it. And, you go back to Cedric Ablahe and Jake Fisher. It's safe to call those guys left, right? Fisher's not in the league. Ablahe's never stuck. He had a couple stints in Seattle and Jacksonville and other places. But a guy like Price, maybe he does end up having some success here with Frank Pollock returning. He was the Bengals offensive line coach in 2018. They started to have some success. Joe Mixon had a career year. And then he left for the Jets. And when Zach Taylor came in and came back a few months ago in January, and the Bengals really believe in Pollock. They believe in his messaging. But to me, that doesn't matter. He might be able to teach better technique and be an upgrade from Jim Turner. But the future is now, and keeping Burrow upright is now. So, yeah, I like the idea of Pollock being able to develop Michael Jordan. But Jordan can't start in 2021. There's no way. That can't happen unless there's multiple injuries. The same thing, really, I think, goes for a guy like Billy Price. And that's why I mentioned Rodney Hudson earlier. Signing a center with Trey Hopkins dinged up and coming off of an ACL, and who knows if he'll be ready for the start of the year. I don't know if you want to bank on Billy Price being your starting center on week 1. So if you can go out and upgrade there, I say you do it. So Pollock is certainly probably an upgrade coaching-wise, but regardless, they need to get some proven guys to help right now while Pollock starts to instill and install his system here in Cincinnati, because there are a lot of new faces, and while I think he's going to help, that's just the start. You got to get the talent and experience as well.
James Rapien covers the Cincinnati Bengals for Sports Illustrated. Good enough to take time and hang out with us. Last thing on your way out, I thought that the Lawson thing was kind of interesting. I just thought that, a guy that, a homegrown guy just, having, emerging as a star the last couple of years, especially this past season. What went on there? Why did, again, I like the Hendrickson signing, who wouldn't, but I would like it even more if they were, pairing him with Lawson. Why did they move on from Lawson? And was it just to get, they didn't know they were going to get Hendrickson. So were you surprised that they did not pick up the tag or even effort to keep him in Cincinnati?
Yeah, I was surprised they didn't tag him. And, they said they wanted to maintain their flexibility from a cap standpoint. But heck, Trey Hendrickson's cap number with that long-term deal is $12.5 million, and the tag's $16 million. So it's not much different, right? So knowing the Bengals, $3.5 million is $3.5 million. But you can make that work. And so I was surprised they didn't tag him, but I got it and I understood it. And yeah, it was, you speak of, I said gut punch earlier with Filer. The Filer news happened. And then 10 minutes later, Lawson was headed to New York. And I think this part is really how the Bengals kind of structure their contracts. Carl Lawson got $30 million guaranteed to go to the Jets. Meanwhile, Trey Hendrickson, while he's going to probably make $32 million over the first 2 years of the deal, only got a $10 million signing bonus. So the cash up front, that guaranteed money, it's hard to lure outside free agents in. And I do wonder, if that prevents the Bengals from going after the Joe Tooney's of the world, the Trent Williams of the world, because of that guaranteed money. Because Carl Lawson, it looks like on the surface, right, 4 years, $60 million for Hendrickson, 3 years, $45 million for Lawson, that the deals are similar. But Lawson's getting $30 million of that guaranteed. And it's much, much different than Hendrickson, who doesn't have any guaranteed money after the 2021 season in his contract. So it was surprising they didn't tag him at the time. But when they didn't and he hit free agency, I thought he would sign elsewhere because I just thought that the market would be too hot, and obviously it was. I think they were in on Lawson until the end. But obviously they had to pivot, and they had a backup plan. And give them credit for that. They had a backup plan, and they go get Trey Hendrickson, a guy who could, in their minds, potentially fill Lawson's shoes.
All right. Well, there's still a lot of expectations for the Bengals this offseason when it comes to free agency. A lot of Bengals fans still sitting on the edge of their seats. They keep refreshing Twitter. James Rapien's a perfect guy to follow on Twitter to keep up with all the latest on the Cincinnati Bengals throughout the free agent portion of the season as they gear up for the NFL draft coming up less than just over a month from now. So give James Rapien a follow at James Rapien, Rapien. Give him a follow on Twitter now. Again, covers the Bengals for Sports Illustrated. James, thanks so much, man. I beyond appreciate your time. Look forward to catching up and talking soon.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, Justin.
All right, there he is, James Rapien. I appreciate him taking time and hanging out with us here. So let's start here. And, my blood pressure's come down a bit. I like James. I talk to James. My blood pressure goes down. So we're good. The bottom line is that I hear a lot of, the Bengals were interested in Tooney. They're interested in everyone. But the problem is like, and people on here keep saying, well, how do you know? I forgot one of the messages on how do you know that they're not efforting to get these guys? It doesn't matter. If you don't get them, it's still a failure. Oh, well, we tried to get Michael Jordan, in the NBA. Oh, we tried back in the night. We tried to get him, but he didn't want to come here. When you failed.
When you're Cincinnati Bengals, you make an offer they can't refuse. That's why we talk about overpay.
Mm-hmm.
And when, they go to another team, you make sure the January Rapien out there know, like, hey, man, just like the Browns made it aware that Johnson had other offers and took less money to come to the Browns, you make it known to the James Rapiens of the world that, like, hey, man, we offered him 19, but he chose to go to Cincinnati. So your fan base knows, like, look, man, we're trying to spend this money that we have available. He chose to go somewhere else. So we're doing our part. He just chose to do something else. You don't say, like, put it up to him to say, all right, Kansas City offered them 16. We'll give you 15. That's the easy no-brainer for anybody out there in the world. It's, hey, man, they're offering me more money, and I get to go play for the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm out of here. I'm going there. So you over-offer, and then you make the player make the decision. And if he chooses to take your money, you're good. You have somebody to protect your young quarterback. If he chooses to go somewhere else, hey, man, you tried, and everybody will know that. The fan base will know that. You'll know that. They'll have Kenner off their back. They'll have the fans off their back to say, well, they try to offer a ton of money. So that's where I'm at with it, man. You have to overpay when you're a team like the Cincinnati Bengals and the Detroit Lions. Just plain and simple.
Well, when you're the Lions, you have to overpay. And when you're the Bengals, you just have to try and pretend you know what you're doing and actually pay them. At least start. If you're not willing to overpay, you at least got to pay them what they're worth. Going to guys like Tooney and offering less than what everyone else is not going to get it done. Going to Zeitler, and by the way, I'm not propping up Zeitler as like the best target out there, but the fact that you went to him for a second time and lowballed him again, and we're not talking a guy like Zeitler didn't pull in 15 mil and you offered him 12. He made 7. And Zeitler said, yes, I was interested in reuniting with the Bengals, but they came in lower, and I had to take the highest offer at $7 million a year. Like that's where, as a Bengals fan, you got to stop sitting here and saying, oh, well, maybe the next one. You got to look at you got to look at the reasons why they're not landing the big names. Because the big names should, like we were talking about Joe Burrow, and I know that's one reason Hendrickson said he came to Cincinnati. By the way, there's not many good things about Cincinnati. So whenever you're talking about, why did you want to come play here? You can't just say, well, they offered me the most money, because the Bengals, to their credit, are willing to overpay defensive guys. Mm-hmm. They're willing to pay you on the defensive side. They refuse to pay offensive linemen what they're worth. And when you have stupidity running your organization with that type of mindset, this is what you get out. You put stupid in, you get stupider out. And that's what's happening. They don't want to pay the offensive lineman. They want to pay for and by the way, I still think that the Hendrickson signing, that was a good signing. But Kev, I think I think it was a panic move. They didn't want to have the cap hit from Lawson, so they let him go. They ended up panicking because at the end of the night, they knew, oh man, we can't go to the end of the night without signing anybody. So I think that they overpaid Hendrickson to get people off their back. That's really honestly what I feel. If you want to, if that's me stirring the pot, more power to you people. But in all seriousness, the Bengals screwed up. I think that they let Lawson go. Lawson was spitting out in the media that, hey, he really likes it in Cincinnati, that he's hoping to stay in Cincinnati. Remember, Lawson even came out and said Cincinnati, they're the front runner. Mm-hmm. So if you're the front runner and he ends up picking someone other than you, that means you screwed something up, not them. It's not like he just all of a sudden lost I don't like Skyline Chili anymore. I'm going to go play for someone. No, that's not what happened at all. And I think Hendrickson, the Bengals offered him the most money because they panicked, because they knew they let Lawson go. They didn't make any key signings yesterday, so they had to overpay to get Hendrickson at the end of the night. That's exactly what happened. I don't care what anybody says. It's the bottom line. It's about like Hendrickson with Lawson. That's money. That's blockbuster right there. I couldn't even disagree with that. But you replaced Lawson, but you didn't get better. Hendrickson doesn't make you better. You just replaced your pass rusher with another pass rusher, and he cost you more money than what Lawson would have, and he has the cap hit that's bigger than Lawson's. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I think they screwed up. There it is. We'll be back in a moment. Hour 1 was fun. Let's see how many names I get called in hour number 2 coming up. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers. By the way, head to wingam.com and make sure you get your bracket submitted for the Basketball Mayhem Bracket Challenge presented by Orion Sports Medicine and Frickers. $100 in Frickers Fun Bucks will be awarded to the tournament winner, along with an ESPN Dayton t-shirt and a 1410 ESPN Radio face mask. So that's what the winner gets. But if you do fill out the perfect bracket. You get every pick correct, you have a chance to win $1 million. How about that? So head to wingam.com. We're watching the brackets continue to come in throughout the day. Everyone's getting excited and geared up. You have extra time this year because the first 4 doesn't start until Thursday now. So usually Thursday is the first day of the tournament. All first four games are going to be held on Thursday. So you have a few more days, and I'm pretty pumped about March Madness this year, even without 2 of our local teams playing in it. But we're still pretty excited about it. So get your brackets submitted. It's the Basketball Mayhem Bracket Challenge presented by Orion Sports Medicine and Frickers. Hour number 2 of the Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash presented by Kirkland and Sommers when we come back.
Hi, my name is Brian Sommers, and I'm an attorney with Kirkland and Sommers. We are a law firm dedicated to divorce and family law. We have 2 locations serving Miami Valley, one near Austin Landing and the other in Troy. Remember, we're not part-time divorce and family lawyers. We're full-time here for you.
Kirkland and Sommers, trusted and experienced, a family law practice dedicated to serving you. Visit them online at kirklandandsommers.com. That's Sommers with an O, kirklandandsommers.com.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring owner-operator and fleet owners. Dedicated home daily round-trip lanes. That's right, round-trip, get paid for all miles, 100% no-touch freight. Cordell is offering great pay, a discounted fuel program, and free on-site truck parking, plus a $5,000 sign-on bonus per truck. Take advantage of the dedicated round-trip miles, sign-on bonus, and home every day or every other day. Go online to CordellTransportation.com to apply today. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Listening to this Allstate commercial about savings might be the hardest thing about getting those savings. Save for simply becoming an Allstate customer. Save more for adding DriveWise. And save even more for driving safely. Visit Allstate.com or contact your local agent for a quote today. Allstate. Minimum effort, maximum reward.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Switch to T-Mobile for Business and get up to 90 days of service free via virtual rebate on your business plan. You get a great deal, the largest 5G network, and first-class benefits like Microsoft 365 on us. It's better for business and only with T-Mobile for Business. Limited time offer. Stop in store for details. Plus taxes and fees for some plans. Virtual Express MasterCard within 8 weeks of receipt of valid submission. Complete port within 60 days. See T-Mobile.com for 5G devices, coverage, and plan details.
Sports injury, low back pain, or are you interested in improving your performance and getting to the next level? Orion Sports Medicine is truly a unique sports medicine and physical therapy clinic and training facility. We offer a highly educated staff that has experience working with athletes from the recreational and youth levels to elite professionals. We offer services that include PT, functional assessment, wellness, fitness, return to sport, sports performance, strength and conditioning, speed and agility training, all at our state-of-the-art facility in Miamisburg. For more information on Orion Sports Medicine, visit orionsportsmedicine.com.
Spending more time at home, there has never been a better time to invest in your home. There is nothing better than a home theater or high-fidelity music system from Audio Etc. Can't watch your favorite basketball team in person? No problem. Audio Etc. can bring any game home. It's better than being there. You have to see it to believe the incredible quality of the picture and sound. 4K is amazing, but just imagine the 8K experience. Come to Audio Etc. today and experience 8K TVs and projectors. Surround sound? You haven't heard surround sound till you hear Dolby Atmos 360 degrees. It puts you smack dab in the middle with 11.2 channel surround sound. Audio Etc. has the brands, the deals, and the excitement. Audio Etc. powered by Klipsch, Bowers & Wilkins, SVS, Marantz, Denon, Sony, and a whole list of high-performance brands that you've probably never heard of. Audio Etc. 551 Congress Park Drive at the corner of Paragon in Centerville, or call 434-9770.
Audio Etc.'s crazy cool showroom.
Staples has everything you need to be organized and productive, like home office furniture, the latest tech, and organization supplies, all at amazing prices. Get a fresh start with big savings from Staples.
Don't miss the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Hey, I'm Jordan, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A new Grilled Spicy Deluxe is that cilantro lime sauce that goes on it. That's just an extra kick, a flavor explosion.
Hi,
Hi, I'm Catherine, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe is the spiciness of the chicken and the coolness of the cilantro lime sauce. It's the best of both worlds.
Chick-fil-A's Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich, available for a limited time only. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Why would I quit my 9 to 5 to start a 9 to who knows when gaming company? Or eat pizza for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Oh, I gotta get that. How could my favorite tech be an app that helps run my business? No offense, smartphone. None taken. Or fill my garage with enough servers to power a small country? It's because I wanted to make it big in gaming. And QuickBooks suite of tools helped me get there.
Intuit QuickBooks helps small businesses be more successful. Learn more at QuickBooks.com.
Rural King has always been committed to the lowest prices guaranteed and to what we believe are pillars in our communities, Christian churches and organizations. From now through March 27th, Rural King is excited to host Church Week. During Church Week, for each valid Rural King receipt submitted to us, Rural King will donate 10% to the registered Christian organization of your choice. Together, let's strengthen our neighborhoods. Visit ruralking.com/churchweek for details.
Maxwell, he was a runaway into rescue, great disposition. About 9 years ago, he was scratching a lot, and he started losing some hair. My vet, she says, oh, he must be allergic to the chicken. Another vet said, it's the grain. Third vet, she says it's the weather, something in the air. And then somebody said, DINOVITE.com. I had been listening to Steve Dynavite ads, hearing about different stories of different people, and it just clicked. I got my first 90-day supply, and it took a grand total of 2 weeks. And the dog stopped itching, the hair stopped falling out.
Dynavite is nutrition.
And Maxwell loved it. Now he's close to 10, and the Dynavite's a big part of Maxwell's diet.
Dynavite for life.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
And he's a spectacular dog.
DINOVITE.com.
Get professional results with Senco Power Tools from Menards. Senco has been producing innovative and powerful fasteners for nearly 60 years with quality you can trust. The Duraspin Auto-Feed Screw Gun drives screws at blazing fast speed and is ideal for drywall installation. It's just $109.99 after 11% rebate. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through March 20th. Savings or mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
If you're driving less, you could be saving more on car insurance. Save money with pay-per-mile insurance from Allstate. Call a local Allstate agent and get a quote.
The madness is officially here. Head to wingam.com and register to submit your basketball mayhem tournament bracket and compete against some of the biggest college basketball fans in the Dayton area. $100 in Frickers Bucks will be awarded to the basketball mayhem winner. Plus, you could win $1 million by filling out the perfect bracket. It's the Basketball Mayhem Bracket Challenge, presented by Orion Sports Medicine and Frickers. Submit your tournament picks at wingam.com. Let the madness begin. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Fire Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio. We are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
And into the end zone goes Chris Olave. KJ Hill, 6-yard touchdown catch. Right sideline and down he goes to the end zone.
WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio. It's live, it's local, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back. I'm Justin Kinner with Kev Nash. Hour 2 right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. The Justin Kinner Show presented by Kirkland and Sommers, the divorce and family law firm of the Miami Valley area with 5 attorneys to meet your needs. I hope everyone's had a great day. It was a very exciting first hour of the show. I do appreciate James Rapien taking time and hanging out with us here this afternoon. If you missed the interview, we'll have some more of that coming up for you later on in the show. A lot of interesting stuff in there, too. I just think that a lot of people are thrown off by the Bengals' approach to this offseason. If the Bengals had even just an average offensive line, and yet they approached this, they approached everything now with going after defense, I don't think anyone would be complaining. I just think that everyone in their mother thought that the stars aligned perfectly. If there was ever a time for the Bengals to put everything into place, it would be this offseason, mainly, Kev, because Not often is it when you have a lot of the position players you need at a time where you also have a lot of cap space. That rarely happens. At the same, so the fact that the Bengals have all this cap space, you're in year 2 with your rookie quarterback on a rookie QB deal, so you have even more cap space, and there is veterans galore across the landscape of the free agency period right now, and you're going to come away with the bottom of the barrel or middle of the line guys, and by the way, for those of you out there who say, well, what's wrong with the middle of the line guys? The bottom line is when you have a chance to get the best and you want to protect your investment, let's say when you buy a brand new car, nice car. You want to get the best insurance for it possible, right? You want to make sure that car is protected. Why would you go for the bare minimum coverage of a very, very nice car? That's how I view this. Like that's what I don't understand. That's the hard thing I have. That's the problem I have in all of this. I give the Browns a ton of credit. Baker Mayfield, they invested 1,000,000% into him, and look at what the Browns are doing. And the Browns went all in on offense last year. Now they're all in on defense this year. The Bengals are like, well, let's get our defense really good, and then we'll have our second straight season where Joe Burrow misses a good chunk of games because we didn't protect him. And then maybe next year, we'll draft some more rookies next year and hope that they pan out. The bottom line is the rookies, although they're good in college, they're not being developed with the Bengals. So why should you trust that they're just all of a sudden magically going to develop them now? And they don't have any veterans to learn from. That's the problem I have too, is I think that there needs to be a good blend, and maybe the Bengals add an offensive lineman or two, and I believe that they will, but I believe it's going to be Dollar Tree guys. I believe it's going to be discount guys. I believe that, when you go to Best Buy and you want to order the Pros, the Beats Pros or Pro, whatever. Mm-hmm. I bought a refurbished pair a few weeks ago. I could have spent $300 on these babies. I can get a refurbished pair for $129. They work awesome.
Open box item.
But the other day they started buzzing in my ear, and the right one's not working now. That's what the hell I get for buying an open box item, and that's what Mike Brown's trying to do. But hey, everyone's like, oh man, look, he invested. He cares about the quality of the audio that he's taking in. Man, look, he's spending a lot of. They don't know that I have a buzzing in my ear, and I feel like I'm being electrocuted. But hey, I look cool, right? That's Mike Brown. That's the thing. That's what's frustrating. But nonetheless, James Rapien does a good job covering the Bengals, so make sure you give him a follow on Twitter at James Rapien, and he'll keep you updated on all the latest when it comes to the latest signings for the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's go to the phones. You've heard me babble and Kev babble, and Kev has done a good job of just listening to me just rant for the last hour and 10 minutes.
I missed it.
I'm sure. Yeah, I was going to say, we haven't had time to really kind of get into anything in the last couple of weeks, thanks to Reds baseball. But let's go to the phones. Who we have, Kev?
We got Bob from Riverside.
Bob in Riverside, how are you, my friend?
Oh man, you are just so wound up.
This is another Tuesday for me. What do you mean?
Yeah, no, and free agency it just started, man. Just bring it down a little bit. One thing I do want to hit on the Carl Lawson and Hendrickson comparison. This is my problem with Carl Lawson. A lot of pressure. Very good job, getting there. But when he gets there, he doesn't get it done. 5.5 sacks. I'm not paying $15 million for a guy that gets 5.5 sacks. Bottom line is, if you are a great pass rusher, when you get there, how about finishing? I would pay $15 million to the guy that gets 13.5, who started for the first time, as opposed to the guy who got 5.5. And then you say, well, he needs somebody on the other side, or to say, well, he makes everybody else better. Well, how did he make everybody else better? Bengals only had 17 sacks, so he didn't make everybody else better. That's garbage. And again, if you say, well, if he had somebody on the other side, well, Myles Getter and all these other guys, does he have anybody on the other side? Absolutely not. Does he get it done? Absolutely yes. That's been Carl Lawson's whole thing ever since he's been here. 5.5 sacks is 5.5 sacks. I'm not paying $15 million. Give me the guy that's about the same age, has better upside, that's, again, had 13.5, which was I believe, second in the NFL in sacks. That's number one with Carl Lawson. I think that's not even to me when you look at production. Give me production. That's what I want to pay for. The Joe Thuney situation, I think it gets to a point. Yeah, he's a name. Why did New England feel the need to get rid of him and to make a trade? I know the Bengals are not New England, and you say, "Well, Joe Thuney, he's a big name, so you got to get the big name." Well, that's garbage. You got to get guys that are going to produce. And if Joe Thuney, I don't know how much money the Bengals offered him, or if they even offered him. I mean, I don't know. I didn't hear the first part of your interview with James. James probably has more information and excellent interview, at least the part that I heard. The Zeitler situation, the problem I had with Zeitler, I was all in on offering Zeitler until I looked at his rating for Pro Football Focus last year, and it was worse than Bobby Hart. So to me, yeah, you better take $5 million because I'm not overpaying for you. If you're not even as good as Bobby Hart anymore, that's garbage. So those are my things. I think you have to look at that stuff. Don't just look at the names. Look at the production, because there's a lot of names that come out that you've never heard of, and yet these are the guys that the professionals are looking at, the guys that have the upside, whereas you got guys that have the names that are 30, 31 that are on the downside of their career. So that's not defending the Bengals. What I'm doing is looking at all the information. I also, when I hear that they're going for somebody, I like to YouTube them. Do these guys still have it? For instance, they got the slot corner from Pittsburgh, Hilton. Yeah. Hilton he had a great year last year. I thought that was, and I know that's on defense. That's true. But believe it, we needed help on defense too. So either way, the Bengals, one guy, Joe Thuney, he's not going to change the whole Bengals team. It's a start, but you know what? The Bengals have a lot of holes.
No, and I get that, but you got to prioritize those holes. But you got to also think right now. I'm glad you brought this up, because I'm going to say this calmer to you because I like you. I yelled at people earlier, and I should have yelled. I actually don't dislike them, but my blood pressure was high earlier. It's lower, so lucky for you, Bob. So hear me out. So the bottom line is that the Bengals have cap space. They have a lot of holes to fill. No matter what they do, they will not fill every hole this offseason. So what you have to do is prioritize, of all the holes that we have, what is our main goal this offseason? Well, Duke Tobin came out last week and said that our main goal this offseason is to do everything in our power to protect our number one investment, which that number one investment is Joe Burrow. And right now, you're right, it's the beginning of free agency, and they're forking over a lot of money to these key defensive guys, and then you're running out of money, and the money that you have, you should be investing into the guys to help you protect your number one investment. And I don't get how that's the defensive, how improving on defense does not do that. And I know what you're saying about some of the older guys. Thuney does automatically improve this team drastically because you pair him with Sewell in the draft and some of the other key pieces that they already have that they're hoping to develop. I just think that the Bengals would have been a lot closer to being an actual contender in the division. I literally just sputtered out 2 weeks ago. I was like, man, if the Bengals go and they get Thuney and they draft Sewell, and they have their center already in the middle, and it's like, then you have Mixon and you have, Boyd, and you have weapons around Joe Burrow. It's like, they're already the second best offense, right up there with the Browns in the AFC North. So it's just frustrating that they're going to the bottom of the barrel for guys right now. I know that it's important that they got to fill up defense, but the defense isn't going to make you a playoff contender in 2021. Either is the offense if you go all offense, but you know what? You better hope that Joe Burrow stays upright all year, because if not, hey, at least you have a top defense.
Okay, well, let me counter that by saying this. I think part of protecting Joe Burrow is both ends of it. I think that you also have to have a better defense, because a better defense will allow you to control the ball more. The Bengals concept, they need to change their concept and not have Joe Burrow throwing the ball 50, 60 times a game. The way that you protect Joe Burrow is by handing the ball off to your running back.
That's what I said last year. I felt like last year Zach Taylor was not coaching for the future of Joe Burrow. Zach Taylor was coaching for the future of himself. Zach Taylor, I don't think, was confident he was going to keep his job at the end of the year. Zach Taylor was thinking, man, I got to win games. If I don't win games, I'm going to get fired. There's not a lot of ways we could win games, but the best way, the best chance we have of winning is by letting Joe Burrow drop back 50 times a game and throw. We had ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz on every week, and that was the one thing him and I and Kev always talked about, was the fact that, I feel like if you don't have a good offensive line, you got to do other little things to help protect your star quarterback, and that's not dropping back 50 times, especially when you invested a ton of money into Joe Mixon the previous offseason. So I agree with you 100%. There are little things that they could do from a schematic standpoint to help protect Joe Burrow as well. It's not always just on the offensive line at that point.
And let me hit one more point just real quick. Going along with that, if you notice the Bengals, same line, when they had Stuafilo and when they had Spain in there, at the end of the year with Brandon Allen quarterbacking, what happened with their sacks when they start running the ball? Their sacks and everything went down. They became a better offense, even without Burrow. So if Zach Taylor doesn't learn anything from that, I'm not so sure. I'm not saying that they can use some help on the offensive line, which I believe they can. Their guard play at the end of the year, once you got Michael Jordan, who shouldn't even be in the NFL, who got Joe Burrow killed. Anyway, that's another story. But anyway, The other guards that they had toward the end of the year did a good job when they start running that ball. That's the biggest way. I don't care who you get in there protecting him. Again, like we all said, you got him throwing the ball 50 times, everybody's going to get killed. That's just stupid. So hopefully Zach learned something, getting another year. And also with the line coach coming in, different line coach, I think that'll be. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
All right, Bob. We're out of time, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate your call. Good hearing from you.
All right, bye.
All right, it's the Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash here on 1410. You gonna hit drop? We're gonna drop it. Oh, there we go. There we go. You know, this Bud's a little rusty after being out for a week, so there's that. But look, it's just an interesting divide. I thought that there'd be more people angry at the Bengals. I'm surprised. I feel like I'm the only one. I feel like I have little man, which I do have little man syndrome. I'm 5'5", folks. You only see me from like the man boobs up when you're watching live on Facebook. Like when I stand up all the way, I'm 5'5". I'm really not tall. So I do have that little man syndrome. I blame it on high blood pressure, but really it's like, oh, I'm small. So I have to like talk louder to be heard. And when when I'm not getting my way, I throw a temper tantrum. I get it. You guys aren't going to tell me anything about myself that I already don't know. But if you think I'm going to change, I'm 30 years old. Bite me. I'm not going to change at all. I'm just saying it is what it is. But no, in all seriousness, it's interesting. Are you surprised at all that more Bengals fans are not as outraged about this? As someone who's not a fan of the team, I'm just one of those where I'm looking around the league and it's like all you hear when you listen to every analyst out there is how the importance of the offensive line. Patrick Mahomes looked below pedestrian in the Super Bowl because the offensive line was trash. This is like, I think we all know that it's the offensive line. We're over here doing, jumping jacks and doing cartwheels and want to throw parade because the Bengals improved defensively. Again, it doesn't matter. Look at the Chicago Bears. They've had one of the best defenses for decades. Every year in the NFL, the Bears have one of the best defenses in the league. And every year in the NFL, they're just average. Why? Because they've yet to find the quarterback. Well, then here's the Bengals, who have a quarterback that fell right in their lap for them just doing what they normally do, and that's not be very good. And they're not capitalizing on it. Like, imagine what the Bears would do to get we're hearing all the rumors behind the scenes of what they're willing to do to get Russell Wilson. You put Russell Wilson on that Bears team with that defense, they're winning a damn Super Bowl. No questions asked. You put an offensive line with Joe Burrow and then you get the defense all figured out, but you're going to get the defense all figured out and then not have enough money. I don't know who this is. Let me find this comment real quick. Troy Miller on Facebook, Kev, says, and let me make this to where people can actually read it. It says in 2020, the average starting guard salary for the Bengals was about $5.85 million. All 5 Bengals guards in 2020 was $5.5 million, and they allowed 48 sacks. 2019 was similar. It's just not getting the job done. Who we got? Who's next, Kev?
We got Keith on the line.
Keith, how are you, sir?
What's going on, Justin? Okay. The Bengals are killing.
Every time I answer the phone, someone just has this tone like, I'm all right. How I got to deal with this guy?
No, the Bengals are just, okay, NFL. Everybody says copycat league, correct? What they always say, copycat league. What did the Browns do last year? They got Kirkland, free agency from Titans, right? Drafted a lineman, right? Bengals, what are you doing? It's a perfect opportunity. Draft a lineman, get a free agent lineman. Copycat the Browns. Look what the Browns did. Don't be stupid. What is San Diego doing right now? Lineman after lineman after lineman. Why? Joe Herbert. It's not that hard. It's really not that hard, Bengals. Dumb Bengal stuff.
The two best rookie quarterbacks last year were Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow, no doubt. In fact, Justin Herbert ended up shattering every rookie quarterback record you could imagine last year, and I do believe those same records would have been shattered at the same time. Like, I think it would have been a race to the final week of the season between Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert of, knocking off the, passing yards, touchdowns, everything else that they were doing. Justin Herbert shattered it by himself because, Joe Burrow shattered his leg because we all know the, the reasoning. And I shouldn't make jokes about someone's injury. This is why I'm so passionate about Joe Burrow getting an offensive line. Like, he's too big of a star in the league. Like, Cincinnati's not watchable. They're boring. They're hideous. I mean, the only memorable scene from an actual Bengals game outside of the debacle at Pittsburgh in the playoff is when Mike Brown fell asleep in the press box or in his suite, and they kept panning over to him, and he's like literally falling out of his chair drooling. I mean, it was unbelievable. Joe Burrow makes this team interesting, and to me, I'm passionate about making sure that whenever the Browns and Bengals play, that it's actually – last year's Browns-Bengals game was awesome when Baker and Joe Burrow played, especially because Baker came out on top, baby. That's how you do it right there. See, that's what it is. I figured it out. The Bengals are more scared of Baker Mayfield than they are scared to protect Joe Burrow. Baker diced them up. They're like, man, we got to improve this defense because Baker, we can't stop Baker Mayfield. That's exactly what it is, my friend. It's exactly what it is.
I'm just saying, the San Diego's doing nothing but get linemen to Herbert. Make sure he stays up. Bengals are getting people to guard other teams. That's just typical Bengal philosophy, stupidity. It makes no sense.
It does not. But Keith, good hearing from you, man. You take care.
Thanks, sir.
All right, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers. Troy Miller says that this Bengals fan agrees with you, and the defensive signings are replacing WJ3, Alexander, and Lawson. It's a wash at best. Exactly. Yeah. Like, that's why, Mike, the Bengals, they're not better today than what they were a year ago, because 3 of their top defensive players last year, they just didn't bring back, and they just replaced them with 3 more good players, maybe slightly improving at each position, but not slightly improving enough to where you're saying, oh, man, that team is instantly 4 to 5 games better in 2021. Now you add the weapons that they've added with the guys they had last year. Now you have some. Now you probably have the top defense, going head to head with the Ravens in the AFC North. But you haven't got better. This defense is not better than it was a year ago. Maybe slightly better at position to position if you're talking about Lawson versus Hendrickson, big picture. But no, overall, the Bengals aren't better today than what they were a year ago. Dean McDonald Kev says, hey, the Bengals had to work hard for that number 1 draft pick. It did not fall in their lap. So, it's interesting about that year that they got that number 1 draft pick. It's not like the Bengals were like, you can kind of head into seasons and know who's going to be fighting it out for the number 1 pick. Mm-hmm. Like, we knew the Jaguars were going to have the number 1 pick heading into the season, and sure enough, they got it. Like, we didn't know. The Bengals, that's why I'm not giving them credit. Like, they weren't tanking. They were just naturally bad. That was just a roster construction gone wrong. It wasn't that they were tanking, Kev. They just didn't know what the hell they were doing. Earlier, I saw Matt on Facebook say, Justin thinks he knows the plan. No, Matt, I do not know the plan, because the team doesn't even know the plan, and it's obvious. Willie Hayden, shout out to Willie. He goes, hey, Kev, what did you do with Justin? The guy you're working with today seems to be right about everything. I like this guy. So there's that. All right. He also says, in fairness, Washington used to win free agency season after season, and no one ever produced. It was a retirement home.
True. Very true. I do remember the year that they signed Deion Sanders and Bruce Smith in the same year. And they're like, oh, man, they got future Hall of Famers on defense. Nobody took into account that those dudes were on their last leg and looking for one last payday before they went off into retirement. And that's exactly what they did 2 years later. They fleeced the Washington football team out of some good money. Shouts out to Deion. Shouts out to Bruce Smith.
All right, let me go to James Rapien's Twitter page, who just joined us. Last thing before we hit this little commercial timeout here, I just want to see, have the Bengals done anything since I've been ranting? Have they improved the offensive line? Let it be known that it's 420. For you immature people out there. 420. So cool, man. Yeah. How about this? John Ross signs a 1-year deal with the New York Giants, so he's their problem now. AJ Green, it was rumored that he's potentially going to land with the Raiders. What are the Raiders doing, by the way? They had a good offensive line last year, and they unleashed everybody.
They let Rodney Hudson go as well?
Yeah, I saw Jason Fitz, our friend of the show. He was ranting and raving earlier about the offensive line. Like, I just don't get the Raiders, man. They're never looking to take that next step. I think Gruden knows he's not a good coach, and I think Gruden knows that, man, if we always have holes at certain positions, I could just use that as, we're trying to get better. We're trying to improve here. If you have holes on your roster, you always have the excuse of we're trying to get better, to where when you actually have talent, there's expectations that come with it. And I think that's the problem. People fear expectations, I guess. And I have no clue what's up with the Raiders as far as that goes. But I'm sticking to this. I think that the reason the Bengals aren't focusing on the offensive line and so they're frantic about defense is because they're terrified of Baker Mayfield. That's exactly what it is. They can't stop Lamar Jackson. They can't stop Baker Mayfield. You remember that little shootout game between Joe Burrow and Baker Mayfield last year? Joe Burrow, the greatest thing since sliced bread, he couldn't even beat Baker Mayfield. Bengals I think Mike Brown loses sleep at night worrying about how he's going to stop Baker Mayfield. That's why he's making all these defensive moves. He's forgetting that he needs to make sure that his quarterback can become a threat in the NFL. Browns fans, we've heard from the Bengals fans today. I want to hear from you. The Browns go out and get the best safety in free agency, and let's be clear, he took a pay cut. A pay cut. Who the hell? You talk about teams that need to overpay, Kev, a little bit ago. The Browns literally are a spot where star players want to go to now and take less money. It's Cleveland. It's cold. It's Cleveland. It sucks. Give me a break. And this dude left L.A. to take less money to come play in Cleveland. Man, things are changing. We'll be back.
How much was his contract?
$30 million. 33 mil.
I think 33 mil goes a lot further in Cleveland, Ohio than Los Angeles, California.
But he had bigger deals elsewhere.
Oh, for sure.
Don't ruin it. Damn it, Kev. Got a good thing going here. We'll be back. Got to deal with Kev.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be mostly cloudy with fog, a high near 53. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy, a low around 40, and tomorrow's going to be partly cloudy, a high near 65. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Have you wanted to speak a new language, but thought it would be too difficult? Then try Babbel. Babbel starts by teaching you words and phrases that gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations. So in 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking a new language in a few weeks. Babbel is built around real life. It teaches you practical conversations that you will actually use. Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com today. That's BABBEL.com.
O'Reilly. Trust the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts to recommend the best products for your car, like 5 quarts of O'Reilly full synthetic motor oil and a MicroGuard filter, just $26.99. Extend the life of your vehicle and improve performance with a synthetic oil change. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
Frickers is ready with Frickin' Madness. Frickers' new mobile app allows you to order online and score points for free food and loyalty visits. Frickers is ready for you to catch all the action of the March to the National Championship. Dine in and win with Frickers chicken wings, ice cold beer, and all of the games. Score big by downloading Frickers' new app and receive loyalty points, free food, and order online. Your home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Hi, my name is Brian Sommers, and I'm an attorney with Kirkland and Sommers. We are a law firm dedicated to divorce and family law. We have 2 locations serving Miami Valley, one near Austin Landing and the other in Troy. Remember, we're not part-time divorce and family lawyers. We're full-time here for you.
Kirkland and Sommers, trusted and experienced, a family law practice dedicated to serving you. Visit them online at kirklandandsummers.com. That's Summers with an O, kirklandandsummers.com.
Need a U.S. passport? We can help. Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. Visit one of our convenient auto title locations in Huber Heights, Clayton, Downtown, Moraine, and Centerville. Make us your first destination before you travel abroad. No appointments ever needed. We do passports.com for more info.
Hi, this is Eddie Sorrell, Service Manager, Germain Honda of Beaver Creek. When you need service, we're here Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays from 6 to 8 and Saturdays from 7 to 5. We proudly offer a state-of-the-art facility with factory-trained technicians, clean waiting room, and service department. Loaner cars are available during service and free alignment checks with any service. Be sure to stop in and ask for our $39.95 oil change special. Germain Honda of Beaver Creek, State Route 35, east of 675, between Xenia and Beaver Creek.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply.
Nice work. You're a beast.
Thanks, man. Taking Nugenix makes a huge difference for me.
Nugenix?
Yeah, the patented key ingredient is testofen, which helps boost free testosterone levels.
Hey, are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, and by the way, she'll like it too. Text CAR to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Text CAR to 42424 and we'll include a bottle of new Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, absolutely free. Text CAR to 42424.
Switch to T-Mobile for Business and get up to 90 days of service free via virtual rebate on your business plan. You get a great deal, the largest 5G network, and first-class benefits like Microsoft 365 on us. It's better for business and only with T-Mobile for Business. Limited time offer. Stop in store for details. plus taxes and fees for some plans. Virtual Express MasterCard within 8 weeks of receipt of valid submission. Complete port within 60 days. See T-Mobile.com for 5G devices, coverage, and plan details.
Right now at Wendy's, with the Biggie Bag, you get a bacon double stack, 4-piece crispy or spicy nuggets, fries, and a drink, all for just $5. That's a bag with real value. Price and participation may vary at U.S. Wendy's.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers, the divorce and family law firm of the Miami Valley area, with 5 attorneys to meet your needs. Cleveland Browns have been busy this offseason as well here on only day 2. By the way, I keep hearing, relax, it's only day 2, but you do know how this works, right, Kev? Like day 1, all the best players are available. A lot of the best players get taken off the board in day 1. Then day 2, all the best players get taken off the board. I get tired of when people say, relax, it's only day 2. You can't relax. There's more opportunity to improve in the first 2 days of free agency than there is the back half. At least there are for the teams who care about winning and want to spend money and improve right away. But I'm just saying, like, I know what people are saying. Like, there's a lot of depth at some of these positions. You can still get some good quality guys. Again, you can get good quality guys. The teams who wait a few days into free agency are the teams that don't have a lot of cap space. Those are the teams who don't have a lot of options. So they're not going for the home run hitters. They're going for the guys in the middle. Not because they don't care about winning. It's just because of the resources they have allotted to them. They can't go swim in the deep end. But the teams that are able to swim in the deep end, they're going for home run hitters left and right, except for one. And I'm done bitching about that team. I'm just done. The Bengals are never going to care about winning. We just need to get over it. I'm going to get over it. It's not like I don't even know why I'm so passionate about them wanting to win. I couldn't care less if they win or not. But it's just one of those things where I just don't like. I think it's the fans. The fans trying to convince me otherwise, that the Bengals have a plan. Their plan is to suck. That's what the only thing they're good at is that. Bottom line. But the bottom line is that, people need to stop telling me, dude, chill. I got this on Twitter. Dude, chill. I don't know why that's a thing. Chill, dude, chill. It's only day 2. Yeah, you have the money to spend and you have a lot of holes. The best players are available on days 1 and 2. I'm not going to chill. Your team needs to stop chilling. Mike Brown needs to wake up and go get some talent. But good for the Browns for making things happen. They get Takk McKinley. Look, I don't get all warm and fuzzy inside. This guy had a lot of expectations coming out of college. He has not played a lot of football. He's injured a lot. He only played 4 and started and played 4 games last year for Atlanta. So, but it's a 1-year deal for $4 million. I think that's a good quality deal right there. Is it the key pass rusher they were looking for to actually pair with obviously Myles Garrett? No. But to me, I think it's worth it. I mean, let's say all of a sudden he stays healthy and all of a sudden your 1-year, $4 million investment. By the time we get to week 8, we could be looking back and saying, man, remember that 1-year, $4 million deal that they invested in him? Now look how much it's paying off. But you could do that when you have talent around you. And you're not relying on only one way to win. The Browns have many ways to win. I think this is good because they're still going to go and attack linebacker in the draft. They still have a lot of money to spend. They're looking to get another pass rusher. I was surprised today, in a good way, they're still looking to add more pieces, to their secondary. I love the Johnson signing for one. And my favorite thing about that is the fact that he came out and announced, hey, I had offers from other contenders for more money, but this is how he wanted to be a part of something special in Cleveland. Look, every player that signs with a new team, they always have something nice and fuzzy to say about the new team they come to. But I wouldn't normally be repeating what those are because I think it's all BS anyways, but I do believe, and the reports back it up, that he was offered more money at other places and he chose to make less coming to Cleveland. You're right. I'm sure the things, like, apparently players don't really consider the cost of living and all that stuff that we talk about. It sounds like players see dollar signs, boom, that's where I'm going. And it is what it is. That's why guys don't go to Cincinnati. Not a whole lot of dollar signs there, at least if you're an offensive lineman, that's for sure. But good for the Browns being willing to continue to spend money. They went all in the last 2 off seasons, and here they are again. This is the 3rd straight off season where Cleveland has been a big player in the off season, Kev. That's cool. I'm excited about it because it's my team that I like, but any team that is any fan of a team that's doing that, it's a great feeling. In all seriousness, I do think that's why Bengals fans are so irritated yesterday and today, is because I think they were expecting more too. I think they were expecting more. Not replacement players. You're replacing one star player in Lawson with another star player. You're not bettering your team. You're just replacing one big hole with another one. I'm disappointed that the Bengals have not been more of a feel-good story. I thought that they were going to be what the Browns were 2 years ago, Kev. Remember after 0-16, they win 7 games the next year. They had something with Baker Mayfield, and then they became fun. That's when they went and got OBJ. That's when they started really opening the bank and starting to bring guys in. And it was a different feel. It was just a lot more fun to be a Browns fan at that time. Yes, the winning picked up, but you felt like you were a winner in the offseason. I don't know if Bengals fans feel like winners in the offseason right now, and there's no excuse for it. They have the money to spend, but good for the Browns. For the 3rd straight offseason, Kev, they've been players. Technically the 4th, because they got Jarvis Landry the year after 0-16. They got Jarvis Landry. They went out and got Tyrod Taylor, which now we scoff at, but at the time, when you had Deshaun Kaiser, a 2nd-round rookie quarterback, as your starter, you felt like they were making steps in the right direction. I like what they did from that 0-16 season to now. I think that the Browns have made a lot of great decisions, a couple bad ones that cost them year 2 of Baker's rookie season. But overall, the Browns have made a lot of really good decisions. I think they've knocked it out of the park already, and they still have a couple big moves up their sleeve.
Yeah, I think the Bengals fans are looking at what the New England Patriots are doing. Like, they're the big heavy hitters of free agency. They're retooling their whole team. They went out and got 2 tight ends. They got a rush in and Matt Judon. They got a safety in Jalen Mills. They re-signed Cam Newton. And what was the biggest problem with Cam Newton last year? He didn't have any weapons. The weapons that he did have, they got hurt. Edelman, he got hurt. He didn't play the back half of the season, and Cam struggled. So they went out and got him some weapons. Nelson Aguilar, they also signed him. So, the litany of guys that they signed in free agency is big time because they had that money to spend. And then on the opposite side, you look at teams like the Saints and the Pittsburgh Steelers. They haven't done anything in free agency, but they have an excuse because they don't have any money. So when you have the money to spend, you can't just hold on to it and expect the fan base to be cool with it. The New England Patriots had a setback year because they went all in on those years to win Super Bowls, and they cashed in big time. They won Super Bowls.
Bobby Carpenter always says, charge it to winning.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Technically, Urban Meyer says that. Bobby always repeats what Urban says. But, hey, that's going to cost a lot of money. Charge it to winning. And that's always Urban's mindset. But keep going.
Yeah, and the New England Patriots did that, and then that debt paid its price last year. Matter of fact, it paid its price the year before that as well. But Tom Brady is so good that, they still made it to the playoffs. But everything caught up with New England this past season. But guess what? They had a lot of money to play with, and they went out and filled a lot of holes on their team, not only on offense, but and on defense. So I think if I was a Cincinnati Bengal fan, I would be looking at that like, man, what are we doing wrong here? Why can't we fill these holes? Like, they're not necessarily filling holes on their team. They're replacing guys that left, which is fine, which you should do. That's great. But to get better, there's opportunities to do that, and they chose not to do that. And they're going to obviously choose to build through the draft again. It's crazy because if the Pittsburgh Steelers decide to build through the draft, everybody's like, okay, yeah, that's fine. They trust it. But if the Cincinnati Bengals decide to build through the draft, everybody's weary. That's just the difference in franchises.
No, absolutely. And look, things are going to become like Browns fans. I'm telling you this right now. Enjoy this. It's the last year of it. It's the last year of the fun year. Well, maybe because you're going to franchise tag Baker next year, so they're going to have more money to work with next year. Not as much as this year, but we're entering the period where the Browns are going to have to pay Baker at some point, and I think that they're going to nitpick Baker a lot, and rightfully so. I don't think Baker's a perfect quarterback by any means. I do think that though, if you look at the gap from one year to the next of his improvement, and even from year 1 to now, I thought he took every big stride that you needed to see him make. Big play after big play. Led come from behind drives to win ball games. He took a step back when he needed to, and then he led a team when he had to, won a playoff game. He did everything that you asked. But when the Browns do decide to finally pay him, I'm not saying the talent's going to go away, but like these off seasons where it's been fun, where they've been able to go out and they've been able to go get Johnson, they've been able to go get these big name free agents, going out and getting Hooper last year, getting the names that they do. That's going to go away, and it is going to come down to developing these young guys. That's why I like that you wrapped up Johnson for 3 years. You have a lot of these guys for a couple of years. I think you still have some of your young talent for a few more years. You want to lock these guys in moving forward, and that's what the Browns are going to have to do. So this is the last fun off season, I think, for the Browns for a while until they, once they pay Baker. Then it's going to become about managing a roster versus building a roster. And I just don't get it. The Bengals are acting like they're managing a roster. You got to build a roster. You don't have a roster to manage right now, and that's what's frustrating about it. Let me say this though about the Patriots. Everyone's like, "Oh, Bill Belichick, this is so unpatriot-like." What you're saying is Belichick is all of a sudden who's a very cheap individual and is very locked in on, and by the way, he's what, I love when people say, well, you don't have to go get the big expensive players to be a winning football team. Look at the Patriots. Stop trying to use the Patriot way as a way to defend laziness from one organization like the horrible Cincinnati Bengals. But Doug Toby, he says, I'm not sure if I missed the thread, but the Bengals just signed 2 quality cornerbacks. I know. And that does what for Joe Burrow? How does that protect Joe Burrow, Doug? By the way, and I said this earlier, but Brandon Allen appreciates the fact that the Bengals are not paying attention to the offensive line because he's like, yeah, I'm going to get some playing time next year. And Joe Burrow goes out for the rest of the season in week 6. I'm going to get a lot of quality starts next year. There's no one happier about the Bengals' inability to stockpile the offensive line than him because he's going to get more snaps than any other backup quarterback in the NFL because Joe Burrow's going to miss more than 10 games next year because they're ignoring the offensive line again. Where was I? I was making a point. The Patriots. I got to turn off the comments, at least not pay attention to them when I'm on a roll. Bill Belichick's closer to the end of his career than the middle, obviously. I think he's going to call it quits here in a few years. I think this is his way of swinging for one final winning season, one final chance at maybe making a run for a Super Bowl. By the way, this roster, as much improved as it is, it still doesn't touch what Tom Brady has with the Bucs. But I will say, I do feel like Bill Belichick is doing this whole thing right now of I'm just going to load up this roster and. You know what? When it comes time to the Patriots having to deal with the cap hit down the road, I won't even be here. So I think this is one of those where I'm playing with house money. You see this in college, college basketball and football a lot. When you know that a coach is on his way out, I noticed it with Archie. If you just look at the balance of the roster, the roster makeup for the Scucci and Kendall Pollard year and Charles Cook and the roster makeup didn't make any sense. Like you knew he had good pieces coming in, McKinley Wright at the time and those guys, but the roster makeup didn't make sense. Coaches don't do that. Coaches are very meticulous on making sure that the balance of the roster makes sense, that you always have a couple seniors, you have some good underclassmen to balance it out. Archie's last year was all upperclassmen. Like you knew that, man, once those guys are gone, it's basically starting from scratch again. That's what is happening here at the pro level with Bill Belichick. Belichick is saying, I'm going to spend every damn dime that we have. I'm going to get every damn good player that we can on both sides of the ball. We're going to go try and win a Super Bowl. And if we win one, great, I'll retire. Peace out. The Patriots can deal with all the cap mess that he's going to leave behind. And if he doesn't succeed, oh, well, he went down swinging. What do you think about that? I do believe that, hey, he's been so meticulous about being very disciplined with the cap space that now all of a sudden he's throwing those rules out the window. That's not for no reason, Kev. That's because now he doesn't have to worry about the future. He's only worried about the near future. And the near future does not involve him having to take a hit financially. That's the Patriots' problem down the stretch.
I feel you. That's a good argument. I just think that they have money to spend now. And years past, they didn't have a lot of money to spend on free agency. And let's not get it twisted. Like these dudes they're good players that they're signing. They're good NFL players, but they're not like top level names and guys that are like perennial Pro Bowlers. You know what I'm saying? This isn't the year like that. They're not signing OBJ or anything like that. Like dudes that like bring like super duper star power. They're very good players that you will want on your team. And I think that they had so many holes on their team last year that anybody that could catch the ball, anybody that could block, anybody that could tackle looks better than what they had last year, especially on offense. Anybody that could catch a pass. And it looks like they're going back to the 2 tight end set that they were running with Gronk and Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah, he killed it, man.
It's so mean.
You did.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hey, I'm Jordan, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A new Grilled Spicy Deluxe is that cilantro lime sauce that goes on it. That's just an extra kick, a flavor explosion.
Hi, I'm Catherine, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe is the spiciness of the chicken and the coolness of the cilantro lime sauce. It's the best of both worlds.
Chick-fil-A's Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich, available for a limited time only. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Why would I quit my 9-to-5 to start a 9 to who knows when gaming company? Or eat pizza for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Oh, I gotta get that. How could my favorite tech be an app that helps run my business? No offense, smartphone. None taken. Or fill my garage with enough servers to power a small country? It's because I wanted to make it big in gaming. And QuickBooks suite of tools helped me get there.
Intuit QuickBooks helps small businesses be more successful. Learn more at QuickBooks.com.
KTH Parts Industries in St. Paris, Ohio has immediate openings for second and third shift production associates. KTH promotes from within, offers an attractive benefits package including medical, dental, 401k, attendance bonus, and a competitive wage, starting at just over $17 per hour with annual increases. During the month of March, KTH will be hosting walk-in interviews every day from 7:30 a.m. through 3 p.m. Please bring a resume and photo ID to apply or see other career opportunities at kth.net. KTH is an equal opportunity employer.
Many Vietnam War veterans were unknowingly exposed to dangerous chemicals impacting their health and quality of life. There are now expanded benefits for veterans exposed to Agent Orange. Veterans with Parkinsonism, bladder cancer, or hypothyroidism who previously applied for VA disability compensation but were denied should reapply and might be eligible for retroactive compensation. Exposed veterans who have not yet applied should consider filing a new claim. For assistance, call Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801.
Listen to this radio station on the radio.com app. Connect with your favorite radio shows through contests, social media, and podcasts. Create custom alarms with your favorite radio stations, all free with the radio.com app.
It's time for some straight talk. Your tax return could look different this year, but you're still going to hear a lot of noise about how to spend it. So when the big carriers tell you to splurge on the latest nonsense, just tune it out. With Straight Talk, you can get a Samsung Galaxy A51 for just $199. Plus, get the $45 unlimited talk, text, and data plan with no contract on America's best networks for up to 50% less. Tune out the nonsense and tune into Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise.
Goodyear knows why we all love basketball. It's the sound of the buzzer, the roar of the crowd, the swish of the net. It's the spin on the ball as it's released, the squeaking sneakers before an inbound pass, the timeout that gives us perspective on the moment. We love basketball because we love movement. And so we're asking you, the fans, what moves you? Goodyear, more driven.
We went to Skyline knowing that we could trust that they were doing everything right. The tables were far apart, and we felt very comfortable sitting at our table. We ordered our go-to 3-ways and cheese conies and extra crackers and root beers. We felt very safe. It was just a little piece of home for us and, having that sense of normalcy. And we left knowing that this is a place that we can come back to over and over again.
If you're driving less, you could be saving more on car insurance. Save money with pay-per-mile insurance from Allstate. Call a local Allstate agent and get a quote.
Don't miss out on the opportunity to win $1,000. It's the Swing for the Fences $1,000 a day giveaway. Each hour starting at 6 a.m. Monday through Friday, we'll release a winning word that you can submit at wingam.com. It's easy, it's free, and you have everything to gain and nothing to lose. So what's stopping you? Take a chance at Swing for the Fences and participate at wingam.com. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
March Madness, baby. It officially tips off this week. Make sure you head to wingam.com and get your bracket submitted. It's the Basketball Mayhem Bracket Challenge presented by Orion Sports Medicine and Frickers. Get your bracket submitted at wingam.com. Again, Frickers has provided us with $100 in Frickers Fun Bucks to award to the tournament winner. You'll also receive an ESPN Dayton t-shirt and a 1410 ESPN radio mask, so make sure you get your bracket submitted. Also, if you fill out the perfect bracket, you have a chance to win $1 million. And it's simple. All you got to do is just get every pick right. And I'm telling you right now, if you want a cheat sheet, if you're watching live on Facebook, this right here is the perfect bracket. It's the perfect bracket. Here, I'll give you a little hint. Here's my Elite Eight, Kev.
Okay, let's do this.
I have Gonzaga and Iowa.
Okay.
Georgetown and Michigan State. I have North Carolina and Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
And I have Illinois and West Virginia.
Big Ten heavy.
At one point, just quickly glancing at it, I had a Big Ten Final Four. I'm like, no, that ain't going to happen. I had to go back and rearrange some things. I have Michigan being upset by Georgetown. I love the way Georgetown's playing. I'm a big Patrick Ewing fan, even though he drove me nuts over the weekend, boo-hooing, because they don't know who I am. But listen, it's not that they didn't know who you were. They got to make sure that if you have the right IDs to go into the right areas of the building. There's COVID going on. I don't care if you own the building. You can't just walk anywhere you want. I'm Patrick Ewing. That's fine. COVID doesn't care who you are. You can't just go walk anywhere willy-nilly in the dang arena. But anyways, that's besides the point. Outside of that, I'm pulling for Georgetown and Patrick Ewing. But yeah, I have Georgetown in the Final Four, losing to the
Wow. A great story with Patrick Ewing. Obviously, him playing at Georgetown, winning the Big East Championship, not only winning the Big East Championship as a player there, winning the national championship, but also now coaching his alma mater, having them win the Big East Championship. They were below 500 before they won 4 games in a row to win the Big East. I don't have them making it out the first weekend, but shouts out to Patrick Ewing. But my Elite Eight: Gonzaga, Iowa, Florida State, Bama, West Virginia, Oklahoma State, the Buckeyes, and North Carolina.
There you go. We're going to talk more about this coming up in a moment. We're going to have our key upsets and all that. Okay, no, I can't. I got to be disciplined. I wanted to give my upset now. I'm all excited about it. I have it all circled. I mean, the Georgetown's a pretty impressive upset run. I mean, I have them knocking off the one of the 1 seeds in Michigan. So there's that. Back to the Facebook feed, and we'll get back to your calls. Doug Toby says, this is about the Cincinnati Bengals. Back to this. He says it gets them on the field more. I don't remember what that's referring to, but he goes, they will take care of the line later. The Bengals don't have time to take care of the line later. What do you mean take care of the line later? When you take care of something later, that means you're getting the less talented group later. It's not that hard to figure out. Quit being a bunch of backseat drivers. Don't even know what that means. Pretty sure they know a lot more. Here's my favorite line. Bengals, I wrote this down. I had a tally marker, by the way. I was up to 27 times. I had Bengals fans tell me last year that I'm pretty sure that they know more than you. And I was preaching last year that Joe Burrow was going to end up having a season-ending injury. And sure enough, it took a little longer than I expected, but it ultimately happened. I wasn't happy that it happened, but I did get my I told you so moment. And I don't care how insensitive that makes me sound, because I'm angry about this because I didn't want that to happen. I don't want to have another season-ending injury for Joe Burrow. So, yes, and by the way, Doug Toby, you're a Bengals fan, but you're not dumb. So clearly you don't actually think that they know more than you or I when it comes to how to put a football team together. We all know that an offensive line is important. So that right there shows that, yes, apparently I do know more than the Cincinnati Bengals, because they clearly do not value that position, and they clearly do not value Joe Burrow, which is why when you crybaby Bengals fans were crying that the national media was saying that Joe Burrow should not go play in Cincinnati, how could they say that? This right here, this is why they're saying that. But they got 2 great secondary guys. Cool. That's protecting Joe Burrow. How? I'm all about protecting Joe Burrow. I love Joe Burrow. I'm a Joe Burrow fan. I want Joe Burrow to stay upright. And I don't get how a Bengals hater like me can have more pride in the protection of Joe Burrow than the actual team and city that drafted Joe Burrow. And he says, guarantee they will get 2 quality linemen. How can you make that guarantee? What about what you have seen since the Andy Dalton, Marvin Lewis days makes you guarantee anything? That's dangerous stuff. That's delusional stuff, man. I mean, I'm all for, I'm a delusional Browns fan. I get it. I've said some delusional Browns fans things, so I'm not going to fault you for saying delusional Bengals fans things. But ultimately, Doug, we're on the same side because we both want Joe Burrow to stay upright. That's really what it comes down to, Bengals fans. I'm not the complete enemy here. I just want Joe Burrow to stay upright. And right now I have zero confidence that that's going to happen, period. I'm already predicting a season-ending injury next year unless they get another one. Another one. I'm going to have to make I'm not hoping for it. I'm just guaranteeing it's going to happen because they don't value Joe Burrow, period. They don't.
I think it all comes down to philosophy. And, we can always argue about the difference in philosophies about how you construct a team and everything like that. There's the build by the draft guys. There's, make a splash of free agency teams. But every team needs to have a good offensive line. Now, how you get that offensive line, we can argue about that as well. We looked at how that Tampa Bay Buccaneers constructed their offensive line. They're a bunch of guys from schools we never even heard of. They don't have guys from Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson.
I think they had
USC,
two D2 guys or something like that. Yeah.
Look, man, that ain't our job to figure out. You know what I'm saying? That ain't our job to figure out, like, where these guys come from.
Wirfs was, like, unbelievable, yeah.
But their job is to find the players, put them on the field, and help them execute and protect Joe Burrow. And for the life of me, they haven't figured that out. They haven't figured that out with guys from big-time schools like an Ohio State with Billy Price and everything like that. So Billy Price wins all these awards at Ohio State. The Ohio State.
I mean, they're better than Alabama outside of one game last year. Other than that, they're better than Alabama. I'm setting up our next call.
So you mean to tell me that Billy Price sucks now? Or is he just not getting coached well? We don't know. But all we know is the Bengals haven't done a good job of offensive line. And not only protecting Joe Burrow, but, you just paid your running back a lot of money in Joe Mixon. You might want to have him have some lanes to run through. So, like, it's twofold. You're helping your quarterback stay upright. You're helping your running back have running lanes. When you have running lanes, that opens up the play action pass for your wide receivers. I think it all goes hand in hand. Look, man, I know the offensive line only gets talked about when they're bad, because we weren't talking about the Chiefs' offensive line when they were mauling people. But as soon as they started giving up sacks, and as soon as Mahomes started getting hit, and then that Super Bowl debacle happened, everybody's talking about the Chiefs' offensive line. Offensive line isn't sexy. It's just not. It's not the wild position. They're not scoring touchdowns. They're not breaking 50-yard runs off, but they are vital. And I dare to say the second most important part of a team. So, okay, you got your most important part, the quarterback. You got to get the offensive line. The offensive line makes everything work.
Plenty of time. It's only day 2 of free agency. Don't worry, Bengals fans. Have I used all of them yet? You got plenty of time. Chill, relax. It's only day 2 of free agency. The draft is really deep, because that's what the Bengals need, is more young players who have no experience at the pro level, knowing what the hell they're doing. It is what it is. But it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers, right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. And look, this is the beautiful bracket right here. Head to wingam.com and get your bracket submitted for the NCAA tournament that tips off officially coming up this weekend. Again, normally we're talking first 4. Now that the first 4 are going to tip off on Thursday, all 4 games of the first 4 on Thursday. Then the first round begins on Friday, Kev. So it's going to go into Monday.
Ooh, I got my plans for the weekend set.
All right, let's go to the phones. 457-9464. Roll Tide, baby. How are you? The SEC commissioner.
RTR. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
How are we doing today? What you got for us?
Well, I would like to talk about the genius of Bill Belichick. You seem to be a Belichick hater.
No, I'm not. I've defended him all last year when people were ripping him, saying Tom Brady. See, it was all Tom Brady, not Bill Belichick. I said, you can't. I don't blame Bill Belichick has a bad roster. Tom Brady has an all-star roster. Comparing the two scenarios is absolutely ridiculous. I really don't bash. I'm sorry if I came across that way. I don't see how I was bashing him at all, to be honest with you.
Okay, well then I'll take it back that you were a basher, and you didn't come across as a hater.
I bash other things.
I want to tell you, it is. To watch the genius of Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick cares about one thing, and that's winning. You were given the impression that Bill Belichick wants everything done his way. No, what Bill Belichick doesn't want is he doesn't want to have to deal with a bunch of college guys who have been sleeping on beanbag chairs. He wants to deal with grown-ass men who have children and mortgages who are going to come in and know how to work when they get to the National Football League, and not necessarily come in there and have got to be taught what it is to be a professional football player. There are 2 people that I think have been the greatest evaluators of talent in the history of football. One of them is Bill Belichick, and the other one is Jimmy Johnson. I give those guys a 1 and 1A of who's better than the other. But they understand evaluating talent. And I just think it's something that Bill Belichick does. That's why guys, they hadn't had the money. Tom Belichick Tom Brady had eaten up so much money of their cap space, they didn't have any room for anything else.
But he took pay cuts every year. Tom Brady never got paid what he was truly worth, though, at New England. That's why everyone kept saying that's the New England way. It's not really a New England way. It's just the way to win is when your quarterback doesn't take every max dollar coming to him. It gives the team more flexibility.
Exactly, and they had plenty of flexibility. Well, this time they'll have the flexibility at wide receiver because when Julian Edelman comes back, then they have Aguilar, and they will have equal opportunity to drop big passes and big opportunities. Because that is their highlight reel of dropping big passes in big time. So it's good that they have this guy that will be able to come to the Patriots and learn how it is to go to the end of the bench after you drop 2 with Mr. Belichick.
Well, Edelman had a great catch versus the Falcons in that Super Bowl where they came back. He had that one that was barely on the turf that set up their tying score in the Super Bowl. Edelman did have a drop. What was the year against Philadelphia? He had a drop, a big time drop, but he did make up for it versus the Falcons.
Yeah, but he has that tendency to drop the wrong one at the right time, whether it's a big fourth down, big third down, or a touchdown. You can always depend on him having at least 3 or 4 of those every year. But I love the way that they're building this roster. I love this time of year. I love everybody clearing their throat, practicing the magic phrase. We'll get them next year. You don't have to worry about that.
The year is coming upon close. McKenny, thank you. Good hearing from you as always. And I'll give you a Roll Tide. I know he's a big Roll Tide fan. They kicked their ass in the national championship game. Yeah, fair is fair. I mean, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Vincent Waller on Facebook says, once again, Belichick career record without Brady as his quarterback is under 500. And so would a lot of coaches who don't have a quarterback. And I don't know if Bill Belichick has a quarterback yet. I do love the loyalty to Cam Newton. Basically, listening to different shows throughout the day, talking about the reason Bill Belichick, who was always really hard on Tom Brady, was never hard on Cam Newton last year is because there was kind of an understanding of come play here. You're not going to have a lot of weapons. We just got to get through this season. That's why he basically got a raise. Cam Newton's numbers were garbage last year, and I defend it. I've been saying from the beginning, I don't think it's necessarily fair. I think quarterbacks have to be careful with what situation they go to, because if you're a quarterback and you go to a bad roster, you will be blamed for the team's lack of success. No one's going to take the time to say, yeah, well, the roster wasn't that good. Well, the roster was not good last year. That's not, I mean, Bill Belichick, people say, oh, well, he builds the roster. It's his fault. You know how many guys opted out, and coaches are allowed to have down years. I just don't get how coaches are great when they're winning, but when they have off years, it's, oh, they've lost the magic. You think that they've lost the magic? You think that they don't know how to do their job anymore? It's just that's what drives me nuts about all of that is Bill Belichick, when Tom Brady was out, won with Jimmy Garoppolo. He won with Matt Castle. They didn't win Super Bowls or win any huge games, don't get me wrong. Bill Belichick knows how to coach. He won games. He wins a lot of football games. And I don't know.
We were talking about that Atlanta comeback, and I know everybody talks about the offense and how they came back on the Falcons and everything like that. But the defense had to get stops. And the brain of that defense is Bill Belichick. The defense got stops and allowed the offense to score points. So you got to take your hat off to Bill Belichick. Look, man, I'm not a New England Patriots fan. I'm not a Tom Brady fan. I'm not a Bill Belichick fan. He beat my Steelers all the time. But he's a great coach. There ain't nothing you can say about it, man. He got a lot of rings on that hand, man. And he is the prime reason why the New England Patriots. Look, man, Patriots ain't never been nothing before him. Think about it. They ain't won nothing before him. They got smoked by the Bears in the Super Bowl. That's the only other time anybody ever heard of New England Patriots before Bill Belichick showed up there. So people need to put some respect on his name.
So, and here's the other thing coming in too about, I can't believe, I'm not even a big Bill Belichick. I'm not a Bill Belichick fan. I'm just not an anti-Bill Belichick guy either. I respect good coach. I think he's a great coach. By the way, he's won 6. And we're sitting here saying, it was all Tom Brady. See, Tom Brady leaves. He wins the Super Bowl right away. Tom Brady went to the best roster in football. Tom Brady pulled a Kevin Durant. How come when Kevin Durant goes to a stacked roster in the NBA, we sit there and rip Kevin Durant and say he cheated to a title? Tom Brady goes to an instant title team, and right away it's, oh, man, he did that. Now, don't sit there and act like, this team was the same roster as the year before. They didn't have Gronkowski. They didn't have Leonard Fournette. They didn't have Antonio Brown. And before you waste waste my time with the, look at their numbers. They barely produced. They didn't produce the first half of the season. When Tampa was really kind of reeling a bit, they didn't look like a well-oiled machine. When they really started producing was the second half of the season. And that's kind of when they started rolling right into the Super Bowl. And did you watch the Super Bowl? It was all Gronkowski and Tom Brady. I thought it was hilarious. It was like multiple touchdown catches for Gronkowski. Antonio Brown had some big catches. All the guys that they added played huge roles in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl last year. And we're getting this too. Where'd it go? New England. Steve Stetler says New England will not make the playoffs, third at best in that division. Go Fish. I don't know about that. We're talking about just the moves that the Patriots have made to improve their offense, Kev. Their defense is automatically going to return to a top 5 defense just with getting the guys back that opted out of the COVID season last year. So they're going to get head and shoulders better just because of the guys they're getting back that opted out last year. And keep in mind, I'm looking at this. Okay, so if you look at that division, they're splitting with the Bills. They'll split with the Bills. The defense is so good for the Patriots, and I don't really trust Tua Tagovailoa right now, who I was high on coming out of college. They take both from the Dolphins, and they take both from the Jets. That's 5 wins within the division right there.
Yeah, and another thing, you say they're third in the AFC East. Well, there was 3 teams out of the AFC North that made the playoffs. As long as they made the playoffs, I mean, yeah, you want to win your division and everything like that, have bragging rights and all that good stuff. But the ultimate goal is to make it to the playoffs. And once you make it to the playoffs, anything is on the table. Once you're in the playoffs, you can make that run to the Super Bowl. But I do predict that the Patriots will be back in the playoffs this year.
Who we have? So to the callers we have on hold, we're going right to you the second we come back. We just got to hit this break for a few moments. Be patient. Enough of us rambling. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. A lot of stuff to get into. Jason Pruitt on Facebook says the Bengals need to go after Trent Williams. Okay. I agree with you, Jason. I'm not laughing at you. I'm just laughing at the Bengals because there's a lot of guys that need to be going after. But hey, there's plenty of time. It's only day 2 of free agency. Why get great players in the first 2 days when you can get cheap bum players in the final 10 days of free agency? Who cares? It is what it is. We'll be back in a moment. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers when we come back.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
To make sure that the air in your home is absolutely perfect, call William Brockman & Sons Heating and Air Conditioning. They are offering up to $1,800 in rebates or make no payments for 6 months when you finance a new Lennox system for as little as $132 a month. Call William Brockman & Sons Heating and Air Conditioning at 937-222-8638 today. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Ohio license number 14911. Sports injury, low back pain, or are you interested in improving your performance and getting to the next level? Orion Sports Medicine is truly a unique sports medicine and physical therapy clinic and training facility. We offer a highly educated staff that has experience working with athletes from the recreational and youth levels to elite professionals. We offer services that include PT, functional assessment, wellness, fitness, return to sport, sports performance, strength and conditioning, speed and agility training, all at our state-of-the-art facility in Miamisburg. For more information on Orion Sports Medicine, visit orionsportsmedicine.com.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
If you're driving less, you could be saving more on car insurance. Save money with Paper Mile Insurance from Allstate. Call a local Allstate agent and get a quote.
The madness is officially here. It's the Basketball Mayhem Bracket Challenge, presented by Orion Sports Medicine and Frickers. $100 in Frickers bucks to the overall winner. Plus, you could win $1 million by filling out the perfect bracket. Submit your Basketball Mayhem tournament bracket at wingam.com.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzz driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You can kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says I'm a catch more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio. WYNG 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio. It's live, it's local, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Sommers.
NCAA tournament slips off this week, and of course the Ohio State Buckeyes will play Oral Roberts on Friday. It'll be a 2:15 the pregame, 3 o'clock the tip-off. Ohio State back in the NCAA tournament. They've been in the NCAA tournament every year since Chris Holtman was hired. How about Archie Miller fired at Indiana? Kev, we'll talk about that coming up here in a moment.
Yikes.
But let's get back to the phones. 457-9464 for all reaction to NFL free agency right now. I feel like I haven't spent enough time bashing the Bengals. I promise I will do better and do that more. No, I actually haven't had a I hate the Bengals show in a while. So it was like building up in me, and it hit. But I honestly thought I had put those days behind me. I thought we were going to hit the air today and talk about all the, Joe Tooney and Trent Williams and whoever else. So I'm not saying every single one of them, but man, you couldn't get one or two, but they're going to go get some mid-tier guy and everyone's going to do cartwheels and act like, see, I knew they wouldn't know. It is what it is. All right, Kev, let's go to the phones. 457-9464. We got Tim in Kettering. Tim, how are you, my friend?
Hey, pretty good. Hey, one thing I just wanted to remind you guys of when you're talking about the free agency, and because of the cap, this is the year to go all in like Belichick is, because next year it's going to go up to $20-25 million. It's artificially dropped down because of COVID. So I think what Belichick's doing really smart, and every other team ought to be going, all in, because you're getting a $25 million bump probably for next year. And the last thing is maybe this week, if you guys get a chance, a couple of minutes of love for CJ's basketball team in Centerville.
Yeah, CJ, Centerville, Shawnee from up north. I mean, there's a lot of good local teams in the state tournament. So, I touched on that yesterday, and we'll definitely have it.
Yeah, the show.
No, you're good. No, you're totally fine. We were only on for a little, but I'm looking. I think it's pretty cool getting to watch Centerville. And by the way, Centerville, that's such a tough regional to get out of. Centerville's always had some really good teams the last couple of years. That's a tough regional to escape.
Beating Moeller.
Yeah, and to beat the team that they did, who they've had some really good matchups with the last couple of years. Congrats. But and again, haven't forgot them. We touched on it yesterday, but no, absolutely. Centerville, that Division I, that's a tough regional to get out of. It's very difficult.
Tough for D2. For D2.
The player of the year at Akron the Mr. Basketball at Akron St. Vincent St. Mary's this year. They're playing Shawnee out of the WBL from up in Lima. That's good. That's the matchup I'm really excited about as far as just a good quality basketball game. CJ has a good opponent too. But no, nonetheless, you're right. A lot of really good teams in the state tournament.
And that's all the more reason too, with that cap money, why the Bengals, everybody's got to just make sure they max out, because you're getting that big bump. So Belichick's playing it really smart. Hey, thanks for letting me call.
Anytime, Tim. Take care. No, and I'm glad he brought up the state tournament. It's going to be at UD Arena this year, which is even more special. I know I'm going to be out there for most of the day before the show on Friday, so that's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to watching some of the teams. But Centerville, that's.
I was there.
Where?
I was at the game. A few players for Centerville. Trey Johnson. It was a great game, man. It was actually the first game I've actually had a chance to go to this year because of COVID and everything like that. Parents invited me down, had an extra ticket for me, so I went down there and checked out the game, and they ended up winning by 2. Trey had a big time offensive board to kick it out for 3 for them to cut the lead down to 1 during the waning seconds of the fourth quarter. Man, it was a crazy game. It was loud, and COVID's still here, so I was nervous as I walked into the building. I'm not gonna lie, but I was just happy that they won, because I was thinking in my head, like, man, if they lose this game, I'm around all these people and they lose, I'll be mad. But they didn't. They came off with the big time victory.
All right, 457-9464. We'll take your calls now. But here's the matchups for the OHSA Boys State Tournament this weekend at UD Arena. Centerville, we just talked about, the 24-3 on the season. They'll play on Saturday. They're going to take on Menor on Saturday. Kev, when they take on Menor on Saturday, it's a 25-0 Menor team.
Yes, sir. Menor is a big time program up there in the Cleveland area.
There's a lot of Cleveland teams. I was just going to ask you about that. You're from Cleveland. A lot of these teams are going to be very familiar to you. I promise.
Absolutely, man. The crazy thing about Menor, when I was in high school, they were a big time football team. And now they have a great football team. Obviously, they put a couple guys in the NFL. Mitch Trubisky went to Menor and everything like that. But over the years, they have really started to become a good basketball program as well. Like you said, they're undefeated now, going up against Centerville on Saturday at 5 o'clock. I'll be there as well. So it's going to be a tough one for sure. But, I think Centerville can do it. They shoot a lot of threes, Centerville, and they make a lot of threes. So
they have to make a lot on Saturday. But yeah, Menor and Centerville, Saturday, 5 o'clock at UD Arena, the Division I state semifinals. The winner of that will go on to take on the winner of Westerville Central and Cleveland State Ignatius too. Again, another team you're very very familiar with. That game's at 8 o'clock. The state final will be Sunday at 8:30. So one. These absolutely. Out of Division II, you have DeSales out of Columbus going up against CJ. That's going to be when is that? Saturday at 11 a.m. The Division II state semifinals. And then how about this one? I mean, yes, pulling for CJ, but man, if they get past DeSales, which I think they should, DeSales is really good too. Hell, at this point, I don't know. Yeah. A lot of really good, but Lima Shawnee, they have a kid averaging nearly 30 a game from up there, and they Akron St. Vincent St. Mary, of course, the Fighting LeBrons. They're Akron St. Vincent St. Mary 27-0. They're undefeated too. Lima Shawnee 25-1. Lima Shawnee's where Jamar Butler, former Buckeye, played. Jamar Butler, former Mr. Basketball as well. So keep that in mind too. But no, state final. The D2 state final will be Sunday at 5:15. Out of Division III. Ottawa Glandorf out of the same league that Lima Shawnee plays in. They're taking on Cleveland Heights, Lutheran East. And then you have Worthington Christian against Cincinnati Taft.
Yeah, Lutheran East is also one of the high schools in my hometown of Cleveland Heights. They're like 5 minutes away from Cleveland Heights High School.
Where did David Leidy play?
David Leidy went to St. Joe.
St. Joe, okay. So I remember the light blue, powder blue jerseys and all that, but I remember watching him at the state tournament as a kid. Holy smokes.
St. Joe's has been a big time program. Elvis Gerbach, Desmond Howard, the Golick family went to St. Joe. So yeah, they've been a power for many, many years in football and basketball.
Shaw, I have no clue what you're saying. Menor versus ST.1. I mean, are you speaking Russian? I have no clue what you're saying. Bodkins versus Richmond Heights and the Division IV state semifinal Friday at 11 a.m.
Richmond Heights, another team from up in Cleveland. Buddy, one of my best friends, his son was on the basketball team when he was there. Really started the revolution of Richmond Heights getting back on track. When I was a real little kid, probably like when I was like 7 or whatever, Richmond Heights used to be a big time power up in Cleveland. Then once I got to high school, they sucked. But my buddy's son was a part of the program when they started making their resurgence, and now they're in the state final 4.
And then the last matchup of this weekend at UD Arena, and thank you, Tim, from Kettering, the last caller, for highlighting the state tournament. I did highlight it a little bit yesterday, but just to go more in detail on the matchups this weekend, Centerville and obviously CJ, the two local teams that are going to be there. And if you go a little north, you'll have Lima Shawnee as well. Bodkins and Richmond Heights, and then Columbus Grove and New Boston Glenwood, the Division IV matchups right there. So
a lot of big time matchups. And you know what? It being down at UD Arena is so awesome. But the bad part about it is we can't pack UD Arena. It was crazy because, the game on Saturday with Centerville and Moeller was at Princeton and Cincinnati. So, there's a lot of Cincinnati folks in there and everything like that rooting for Moeller. You know how crazy it would be if we were able to pack UD Arena for the Centerville Elks on Saturday. It would be insane.
Well, if we were able to pack it, it would be back in Columbus. I'm just saying.
True that.
Look, and by the way, UD Arena has been on display a lot. I mean, they did the A-10 tournament the A-10 championship over the weekend. And then, of course, you have the state tournament for the boys coming up. They did the girls, too. By the way, did you see the picture floating around of the meathead security guard that choked the cameraman from St. Bonaventure? What in the world was happening there? And, of course, I was, told, never mind, I'm not going to go there. But by the way, I get that the UD Arena, they act like it's the White House and there's security everywhere. No, man, if you do one thing you're not supposed to, man, this is UD Arena. You don't disrespect UD Arena, blah, blah, blah. This cameraman for St. Bonaventure, he was trying to get a video of the team celebrating. Mm-hmm. And he was running around and video got out and pictures got out of this meathead security guy, basically took his arm and wrapped it around the neck of the cameraman, who, by the way, he was told he wasn't allowed there because I guess media was supposed to sit up in the stands, but he had been granted floor access, I guess. He had been on the floor the whole game. Mm-hmm. And then you had Rent-A-Cop guy want all of a sudden try to, guard it or whatever, but he put him in a damn chokehold. Then find out later he's still back out on the floor with the team because apparently he was allowed to be there. How about that?
I saw the damn neck.
He's a skinny, scrawny little cameraman, and you had this old meathead guy wrapping him up with a chokehold. I'm like, what in the world is you doing? That was annoying as hell.
I saw the picture, man. It was very disturbing. And, he had on all the garb, and you could tell from the players, they're pointing at the camera guy being choked, what's going on? You could tell, they knew who he was, he was a part of the team. I didn't know, if he was the camera guy, the water boy, team manager, something, but you knew he was with St. Bonnie's. You knew that, nobody wears brown on brown. Nobody wears brown slacks and a brown polo. Nobody wears that besides somebody that goes to St. Bonaventure. Have a little tact here, man. Use your brain, man.
And like I said, then you the glorified usher had to go out there and let's be clear. I think that the most when you talk about the security at these games, I think that the biggest thing that they have is, hey, don't throw popcorn on the floor. Ma'am, can you take your seat? You're blocking the view of the guy behind you. That's a rough night on the streets for the security at UD Arena. So this guy, I think, all of a sudden saw this cameraman running where he wasn't supposed to again. He's like, "Oh, this is my moment. I'm gonna get my badge. I'm gonna be a detective after I solve the case of the cameraman being where he wasn't supposed to." And he put the damn guy in a stranglehold. I get that they're looking for excitement. That job could be a little boring. You just sit down and observe. A lot of people following the rules. You have less people to observe this year due to COVID. And then because of COVID, you want to stay away from people, not hug them from behind and choke them out. When of course the mask of the glorified usher is below his nose and everything like that. So he's just breathing COVID particles all over the dude. But hey, at least he wasn't where he wasn't supposed to be. All right, folks, we'll be back in a moment. More of the Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash. 457-9464. We'll take your calls on the other side. If you missed the interview with James Rapien, covers the Cincinnati Bengals, does a great job. We have that interview coming up for you here in just a moment as well. You can also access it at wingam.com. Make sure you subscribe and download the Justin Kinder Show podcast in your Apple iTunes and Google Play Store, where you will have an opportunity to go back and listen to that in its entirety. I'm getting word, and again, I haven't been able to confirm this. Andy Dalton to the Bears.
Wow.
Is that confirmed? Someone sent that in on the message board here on the side. I just want to make sure that is finalized. I'm not coming across it, not saying it's not true. I just want to finalize it nonetheless. Here's another one too for your Steelers. The Steelers are releasing veteran linebacker Vince Williams.
I saw that.
Kev, what's going on? Why did Big Ben come back? Because they're not going to be competing for anything, mate. I'll tell you what, we'll step away for a few moments. 457-9464. More of the Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash when we come back.
It's the Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be mostly cloudy with fog, a high near 53. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy, a low around 40. And tomorrow's going to be partly cloudy, a high near 65. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane. 98% of their customers recommend Cullet. If you wouldn't recommend your current supplier, check them out at culletpropane.com.
Sports injury, low back pain, or are you interested in improving your performance and getting to the next level? Orion Sports Medicine is truly a unique sports medicine and physical therapy clinic and training facility. We offer a highly educated staff that has experience working with athletes from the recreational and youth levels to elite professionals. We offer services that include PT, functional assessment, wellness, fitness, return to sport, sports performance, strength and conditioning, speed and agility training, all at our state-of-the-art facility in Miamisburg. For more information on Orion Sports Medicine, visit orionsportsmedicine.com.
Leave your sister alone.
You're ready to get back into yoga, so you order the essentials. A non-slip mat, yoga blocks to keep balance, and an exercise ball. And you use your Bank of America Cash Rewards credit card, choosing to earn 3% cash back on online shopping and up to 5.25% as a preferred rewards member, which you put towards your most essential yoga gear. Noise-canceling headphones.
Welcome. Take a deep breath. Breathe.
Apply for yours at bankofamerica.com/more rewarding. Copyright 2020 Bank of America Corporation.
Hello, good neighbor. Pat Boone here. You know, for years I've been warning Americans about the secret war on cash by big government, targeting your money and your privacy. Now, recent reports confirm that some banks are refusing to cash checks, and cash is being confiscated from innocent citizens. I'm serious. It's truly shocking. The folks at Swiss America have detailed all the dirty little government secrets in their free report, The Secret War on Cash, and it's available now by calling 800-289-2646. Why don't you write that down? 800-289-2646, because time's running out to take action. Don't become the next victim in this battle. Get The Secret War on Cash. Call 800-289-2646, and be sure to tell them Pat Boone gave you this number, 800-289-2646.
We've been going to the same Skyline for 11 or 12 years now. When I see that familiar face at the drive-thru, it makes me feel good. Just making that connection, seeing them again. It's like going home. We always make sure that we eat as a family. And on the busier days, hitting the Skyline drive-thru is perfect for that. It's always a good experience. And everybody in the house is happy. We eat Skyline once a week for lunch or dinner. Yes, sometimes it's 2 times a week. Skyline is definitely my family's favorite restaurant.
Folks, you won't find old Roy at Homestead Feed and Supply. We carry raw-coated Canidae, a new product. Less in, less out. Best breed, an Ohio company. Blue Buffalo and other premium dog foods. Because you love your dog, Homestead Feed and Supply, 1833 North Dayton Lakeview Road. Tell them the Colonel sent you.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring owner-operator and fleet owners. Dedicated home daily round-trip lanes. That's right, round-trip, get paid for all miles, 100% no-touch freight. Cordell is offering great pay, a discounted fuel program, and free on-site truck parking, plus a $5,000 sign-on bonus per truck. Take advantage of the dedicated round-trip miles, sign-on bonus, and home every day or every other day. Go online to CordellTransportation.com to apply today. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Hi, my name is Brian Sommers, and I'm an attorney with Kirkland and Sommers. We are a law firm dedicated to divorce and family law. We have 2 locations serving Miami Valley, one near Austin Landing and the other in Troy. Remember, we're not part-time divorce and family lawyers. We're full-time here for you.
Kirkland and Sommers, trusted and experienced, a family law practice dedicated to serving you. Visit them online at kirklandandsommers.com. That's Sommers with an O, kirklandandsommers.com.
Germain Honda Beaver Creek is your local Honda dealer. For a limited time, get 0% financing on the 21 Honda Passport, Honda CRV, Honda HRV, and the 21 Pilot. Plus, get $0 due at lease signing on the 2020 CRV, Civic Sedan, and HRV for well-qualified buyers. See me, Sales Manager Jason High, for complete details. We're on Route 35, just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way.
It's all about the nose. It's your air filter, the first line of defense against bacteria and viruses. If too many germs get stuck in your nose, guess what? You get sick. That's why it's so important to keep your nose clean, just like washing your hands. Nasal irrigation gets rid of germs by rinsing the nasal cavity, but neti pots are hard to use and, frankly, kind of gross. Now there's a better way to keep your nose clean and help your body protect itself. It's called Navage Nasal Care. Navage uses powered suction to flush out allergens, mucus, bacteria, and viruses. Millions use Navage for fast, all-natural relief from sinus congestion and allergies, and to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier without drugs. Navage is easy to use, affordable, and comes with an absolute guarantee of satisfaction. You wash your hands and brush your teeth every day. Now it's time to start cleaning your nose with Navage. At Navage.com, CVS, Walgreens, Bed Bath, Target, and Rite Aid. Navage. Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
Staples has everything you need to be organized and productive, like home office furniture, the latest tech, and organization supplies, all at amazing prices. Get a fresh start with big savings from Staples.
He's a former Buckeyes great and now a college football Hall of Famer. And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots. He's Dayton's own Keith Byers. Hang out with him every Monday at noon on The Keith Byers Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken.
Excuse me. I know you have a 9 o'clock, so I'll keep this short. I'm the business suit in the back of your closet. You wore me nearly every day before your office went, quote, casual. I used to be the CEO of your closet. Now I'm just that one intern no one ever talks to. I always thought you'd circle back with me, get granular, keep me in the pipeline. But nada, nothing. Don't you remember the McKittrick presentation? You spilled coffee on me and I still looked amazing during the breakout talkback Q&A. So I think it's time for me to move on. I've got a great resume and I absolutely crush it in interviews, okay? Let's make this a clean break. Shift the paradigm. The only thing I ask is that you think outside the box here and do this. Take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create new jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff, create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash. When you talk about teams with cap space, you know, when you are the Jacksonville Jaguars, like that team is like an expansion team right now. They're an entirely new team, Kev. They have like $70+ million cap space. They have every need you could think of because every good player that they've had over the last 2 or 3 years, they basically just, Ngakoue, all those guys, Patrick Ramsey, all gone. $70+ million cap space. They have the number 1 overall pick, which they're ultimately going to pick, the quarterback out of Clemson, and they're going to bring him in. And now, so it's interesting. They're good. So now he's going to have Marvin Jones, wide receiver, former Lions wide receiver. They just signed him to a 2-year, $14.5 million deal. 9.5 of that is guaranteed, Kev. You look at some of the things that they've been doing on both sides of the ball. Jacksonville, like I said, Urban Meyer, every time I hear about Urban Meyer, he's going to need a few years to get to get things going. Yes and no. I'm not expecting a Super Bowl in the first 2 years. I'm not even expecting the playoffs in the first year. But if this is a 3 or 4 win team, Kev, that's a problem. Like we've seen Joe Burrow come in with a bad offensive line and throw for over 300 yards a game. We've seen Baker Mayfield come in and throw for 28 touchdowns his rookie season at the time, breaking the rookie touchdown record before it was ultimately broke last year by Justin Herbert with the Chargers. Rookie quarterbacks are no longer coming in and being eased in. They're coming in and expected to be not great, but they're expected to be very above, top half of the league good as far as quarterbacks are concerned.
Which is pretty amazing because I remember back before the rookie wage scale, the rookie quarterbacks especially made the most money on the team and they were eased into it. Like I remember when Phillip Rivers got drafted by the Chargers and he sat his first 2 years behind Drew Brees. And Drew Brees was only in his 3rd year when they drafted Phillip Rivers. So they were paying Phillip Rivers all this money to be the backup and easing them in. And nowadays they don't pay them that much and they're expected to start off the bat. It's just a weird scenario that we're dealing with now in the pro game.
And not just start, but like you're expected to compete. And because of the way it's set up, there's more pressure on rookie quarterback. That's why this world that we live in where the Bengals get like 4 years to rebuild is absolutely ridiculous. In fact, every other team all anyone talks about now is the rookie deal is why you are expected to compete right away. Because you don't have to pay your quarterback. You can go overspend on some talent on both sides of the ball because not all your money is invested and allocated towards only one piece of the puzzle. That's why this whole notion that the Bengals are just going to take it easy and take it day by day and year by year, you've already wasted year 1. You're well on your way to wasting year 2. And then next year, you're going to take that next step and then aim to be 9 win team and barely a playoff team. You should be striving to be a Super Bowl caliber team by year 3. And I feel like the Bengals aren't even worried about making the playoffs in year 2. That's crazy to me. But I look at the Jaguars, they should be around a 7-8 win team. They have $70 million cap space, Kev. Like there's no excuse. If you could do some damage, like Trevor Lawrence is going to come in and be expected to be a very good player. He's not going to get the always a rookie on a bad team. No, that gets thrown out the books. If Joe Burrow could throw for 300 yards with the embarrassing offensive line that he had, the Jaguars' offensive line is better, and they're already adding pieces to it. So all I'm saying is I'm not expecting Urban to win in the play, to make the playoffs, but 7 wins isn't that unthinkable for what, especially for the division that they play in.
Yeah, they got, like you said, Marvin Jones. They just signed him up. DJ Chark. They got Levincus. So those are your wide receivers that he's going to be throwing to early on. So we're going to see. We're going to see what they can do.
AFC. Oh, sorry, my bad.
No, I'm looking at the AFC South like you were just saying.
It's not overwhelming.
I mean, the Texans are the disaster. The Colts, I'm expecting the Colts to be Super Bowl contenders, to be perfectly honest.
I'm with you because that's why they're gambling a lot on the guy that they just went with. Like, I thought Andy Dalton with the Colts I would feel more comfortable with, but they're gambling on the ceiling of Carson Wentz. If Carson Wentz can return to 2017 Carson Wentz, I agree with you 1,000,000%. Like, the Colts are legit on both sides of the ball. But if Carson Wentz is what he was with the Eagles, you invested a lot to get. Well, you didn't by the standards of what the Eagles got in return, but you invested a lot into gambling with this. Like, you invested this year into him.
Yeah,
and that's gambling a lot.
Cap space, though. Yeah. That's the crazy thing about the Colts. They have who they perceive as their quarterback of the future and everything like that, but they still have cap space for this year, and they're not in dire need of like, all right, man, we need to get this guy or this guy. You're like, they have the luxury to, wait, see what guys can fit their system and fit what they want to do. So I'm expecting the Colts to make a jump. So yeah, I mean, we're looking at what Tennessee is doing. I mean, they just signed Bud Dupree, so maybe they'll get some type of stop on defense this year. But they did end up losing Corey Davis. He ended up signing with the Jets, I believe. So, they're in a battle for the second spot, I guess. You look at the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're probably going to be finishing right behind Tennessee.
Tennessee lost, they're tied at like Tennessee since 2 years ago, since the Titans were in the AFC title game 2 years ago. They paid their quarterback. They've lost a lot of key defensive pieces. They've lost their star tight end. They're losing some key pieces. Like, it's all they keep progressing each year. But to be fair, they didn't pay their quarterback. They paid the running back. They paid the quarterback a decent amount of money, but he wasn't paid an astronomical amount.
Yeah,
about 30 mil, 29 mil, something like it. Like, you could win with 29 mil. But again, by the way, the running back's worth it. I think. Yeah, he's talented. No.
Absolutely.
But it's like, the running back, man, like, I'm so torn.
But he's not the average running back, though.
There's Nick Chubb, and that's why I'm torn on, like...
But he's putting up, like, 600 yards more than anybody else in the league.
I know, you can't stop him. The Browns did, though. The Browns stopped him.
Comes back to the Browns.
That means nothing, though. The Bengals did, too. So apparently anyone can do it. No, I'm just joking. No, I'm not. What am I saying? But nonetheless, here's a couple more moves. We'll get to the calls, and then we have the James Rapien interview coming up on the other side. Tyrod Taylor signs a 1-year deal worth up to $12.5 million with the Texans. Tyrod Taylor, $12.5 million. Andy Dalton got $10 million to go to the Bears. Who's a better quarterback?
Andy Dalton.
And then the Bears got a good deal. But nonetheless, look, bottom line is Tyrod Taylor is going to play a much bigger role than you think.
Oh, he's going to be the starter.
I think he is. And I know he is. And I don't think that Deshaun Watson's playing on another team next year. He will be on the Texans roster when the season starts. I'll be very surprised. Like, that's an ego thing that's going on right now. The battle of the egos is basically what's
full of Carson Palmer. Carson Palmer's out our entire year.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, they're going to call his bluff, but like, he's going to lose like $20+ million next season if he does that. He's going to lose more than that, I think, when you add everything else into it. Like, it ain't hurting them. Like, and as I've said before, when it comes to Deshaun Watson, we're not a playoff team with you. So we're not a playoff team without you. But they've made some sneaky good moves. I'm not giving the Texans credit here because I'm not really on their side when it comes to Deshaun Watson. I don't think Deshaun Watson, I'm not a big fan of the reasons of why he's doing it, because you knew the reasons that you are opting out of playing with the Texans are the same issues that existed when you signed with them. But it is what it is. It's a marriage that's falling apart. It's not going to be fixed moving forward, so it is what it is. But we're out of time. We have time for a call, Kev. Let's go to the call. 457-9464. Who we got?
We got James.
James, how are you, sir? All right, let's go to Mark. Mark, thanks for holding.
Hey, Justin.
Who is this?
This is Mark from Xenia.
Mark from Xenia. Holy smokes, I haven't heard from you in I feel like ages. How are you?
Hi, just fine, guy. How you doing?
Good. This is Norm Greavy, Mark, right?
You're right.
Oh my goodness, it's great to hear from you. So what have you been up to?
Not a whole lot, really.
Exciting.
Who do you think the Browns are going to go after next, do you think?
The Browns right now, I mean, look, I really do not want that. I mean, they're going to go after a pass rusher. Who's the guy that was just on the Titans, Kev? It didn't work out. He's been bouncing around from the Texans and everything else. Clowney. I think Jadeveon Clowney is probably a safe bet he ends up there. I know that they just signed the McKinley kid, the McKinley defensive end from the Falcons, but that was a 1 year, $4 million deal. I still think they're wanting another legit pass rusher.
Who would take Clowney?
I think that's an option for him. I don't know what the market's going to be for him, but
I'm straight.
I'm not a fan of the move. What's that, Mark?
I don't think it'd be a whole lot if they get Clowney, really.
He would cost a pretty penny. I think the Titans gave him $15 million last year, or 12, maybe it was 13. If they pay under 10 for him, it's okay, I guess, but I wouldn't lock him up long term.
How about the Flyers? Do you think they're going to be any better next year? I think so.
I think that, look, they're going to be more talented next year. I don't know if they're going to be better. I think that you can't bring in all these freshmen and expect the Flyers to win the A-10. I don't care if it is the number 15 or 12 class in the country. However, Anthony Grant has a top 25 team for quite a few years in the near future. I don't know. It just depends what if he brings in some transfer players, they need to be experienced players. I think they need to get an experienced point guard that's, is used to handling the rock in some pressure situations. There's over thousands and thousands of names in the transfer portal. There has to be an experienced guard out there somewhere. They have sick talent coming in, though. There's no doubt about it, but it's young, raw talent, and I think that it needs to have some balance with some veteran players, and I don't trust what I've seen from Weaver so far. The Amzo kid looks really good. He's had spurts of greatness. I mean, he was, he had a very good season as well. We'll see. I just think they need another legit guard that's going to handle the ball in pressure situations. Plus, they need to get bigger in the post as well.
Yeah, I was going to say they need to go after a center next year.
Yeah, you're always about those centers, man. I get it. But hey, Mark, we're out of time, man. It was great hearing from you. I hope you're doing okay. Call back tomorrow, okay?
I will, guys.
Take care. All right, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. For those of you who missed the interview with James Rapien earlier, covers all things Cincinnati Bengals. We're going to talk about the Bengals' slow start to the offseason, or free agency, I should say, when it comes to addressing the offensive line. But they've done a good job on the defensive side, or have they? We're going to talk about that with James Rapien. Covers the Bengals, Sports Illustrated. That's coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio.